There are things going on that you would not believe.
Your brain and what it can do is a gift. See how far it can take you.
You're not kids. Not here.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Chills and Thrills on Thursdays, where we're going to be covering the Institute for the next couple of weeks. I'm your host, Nads, of the channel, Horror with Nadia, and I appreciate you all being here. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share out the stream with your fellow Stephen King fan. We're going to be covering the Institute for the next, I believe, 6 weeks, discussing episode 1 and 2 today. I have a great panel for it as well. And lastly, thank you all. We're going to celebrate in a second, but thank you all. I hit my 1K goal. There's some things in plan. I have an announcement once I bring everybody on. So with that being said, let's bring everybody on. So Rachel, Corey, Toxic, and Kyle. What's up, guys?
You, this 1,000 subscriber mark.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers to you on that. I know.
What?
All right. Cheers.
There you
From
go.
the bottle. Yeah, she wasn't messing around.
This is my Matthew Lillard tequila.
It literally is called that?
It's called...
Really?
Or you got it from him.
Spirits. Yeah, it's his tequila that he collabed with it.
He has one too? Good Lord.
Yeah,
I think,
right?
I think that's the thing to do between tequila and whiskey. There's so many people that are putting their names on bottles.
These days, yes.
It came with a Mike Flanagan novella that you only can get with the bottle.
How long is it?
That I read. It's very short. I read it live a couple weeks ago. I think Rachel was in the chat. It's really
yes.
It was like, I like Mike Flanagan, but I think we were making fun of it. And we were counting because this is from it's called Rare, Fine, and Limited, and that is the title also of the novella, and it was constantly being thrown in for the first couple of chapters of the novella.
So just an obvious plug with obvious references you just portion in there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rachel, this is your first time on the channel. You're usually in the chat. How are you today?
I am doing very well. Hello, chat. I miss you. Please behave yourself. Thank you so much. Represent. That's what I'm talking about. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk about the Institute. Just finished the book on Monday. So I watched the first 2 episodes. I still was at 80-something%. And then I finished the book on Monday and I have so much to talk about. So thank you so much for having me here.
I'm excited because we're going to reference a little, those of us that have read the book, we're going to reference a little bit of what's missing and what's going on. Corey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Well, you're obviously doing great because you got the 1K under your belt now. On to the next 1,000, right?
I'm going out on top. That's I really
No, doing really good. And thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking about this.
Absolutely. Toxic, as always. What's going on?
Yes. Also rereading the book and excited to get into this. And I hope this is the first of a few different Stephen King projects we can do this year. But I know your schedule is always busy. So I guess we'll have to kind of play those by ear. At least the other 2 are movies and not TV shows. So we'll do that.
Yeah, and hey, big congrats. Derry. We're definitely going to be doing Welcome to Derry on this channel. So that's
okay. Okay.
And I think there was another one that's coming out, but I can't remember. And The Long Walk as well. So I got you. I'm a big King head, so I will be talking about as much King as I can. By correcting that, I am a earlier King head, earlier stuff, not the latest.
Although I would mention this is very good quality novel. How the show's going to play out, I don't know, but this is a good novel, and it didn't come out till 2019. So it's one of his latter half. He's got some good latter half stuff with one glaring issue we can get into later. But his stuff, he's still. I don't know, man. Stephen King was the first person I ever read, and he's still the best writer I've ever read. So make that what you will.
This and The Outsider.
That's what got me back into reading. Sorry.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
So
I got a my thing this year was that I was going to start reading all the books that were being turned into movies or TV shows. So I started with The Life of Chuck, and that was his short story, his short novel.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one was the next one. And I think you said, I got to get on the long walk. So that's the next one that I'm going to read. But he seems to be the person that got me back into reading. So he is really for you or not for you.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take the idea of doing a book club in August for the long walk, where we'll do like a stream discussing the book and then to lead into the movie. See how kind of play it out, see how it works. And if it works, maybe a book club moving forward, because this channel was not only supposed to cover movies and television, it was supposed to also cover comics, books, video games, anything in the horror genre. So I want to make sure that I can expand out. Kyle, speaking of expanding out, Kyle, how are you today? What's going on?
Rocking on. I can't say I am a fan of Stephen King, not because of his ideas. I think clearly he has good ideas because of the proof is in the adaptations that have gone on for decades. For me, reading novels that are as long as his are just a huge chore that I cannot get through. I can't. I tried starting to years ago. Tried it, and the level of detail is not something that is in my language of something that I ingest. I'm more of I grew up reading scripts, and the sparse, straight to the point nature of screenplays is my language in terms of storytelling.
That is an odd cookie. That's odd to grow up reading scripts.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have like access to a huge library, but I realized that was the format that I could ingest easily. I could get lost in a novel and my mind would wander, you know, because I'm the kind of person that just likes to get straight to the point, you know, delve in and be analytical. But if you go off books, say if you're trying to open a scene in a novel for Stephen King, I think he was trying to describe, you know, going into the house of the main characters, and he starts from the outside in. Yeah, that's a good principle. You do that too with screenplays. You start with the scene header, exterior or interior, house, day or night, and then you talk briefly for a line or two about what the house looks like. And then you get into the house of the interior, the next scene header. Introduce the characters, some dialogue perhaps, actions. With Stephen King, he's describing the color of the fence, the kind of tree, if there's a swing on it, if it's tire, if there's a squirrel running through the grass, if the grass has a patch that's
what color
dead.
the squirrel is.
Okay,
do you see my point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But have you read Tolkien?
Part ways. This was when the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That I might be able. I would probably get through it now. Now I have read it was for work. I read a huge series of fantasy books that were around 500 pages each, and there were about 6 or 7 that I read. But I was doing them for work, and I was doing formatting for those books, and I was turning them from novels and taking the digital versions of them and making them look like screenplays. So, yeah.
I wonder, have you ever read comic books?
Again, sparse. Like I think I read Long Halloween or The Killing Joke. I remember reading that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So not a lot. The
reason why I ask, because comics are kind of a good in between.
Yeah.
Versus a novel versus script, but it also has visuals to it as well. I have been a King fan since I was way too young to read his books. Like I should not have been reading his books at the age I was.
Did you read it at a young age?
I did, but my first book, and Rachel Toxic Corey might know, was Tommy Knockers at a very young age. And it is not a book you should probably give to. I was probably maybe younger than middle school. It's because my godmother was actually part of the original like Stephen King fan club that used to have the books mailed to them. This is before the internet and stuff. So she had a ton of like first editions and things like that going on. So she saw that I was reading a lot of R.L. Stine. So she's like, how about Stephen King and then gave me Tommyknockers.
That's so funny. That's almost exactly what happened to me. I was a big comic book nerd, and I would mow lawns and have my like $10-15, and my mom would take me to the comic book shop, past, present, future comics. And in the 20-minute ride home, I'd read all of the comics that I got, and I would start rereading them. My mom was like, you need to start reading like novels. And I was, and she was, you know, a nurse, so she liked medical thrillers, but she was in a book of the month club, and she had just recently joined Stephen King's book of the month club, and she didn't like it, but already had like 4 of his books. So she gave me the Bachman book. They used to have the Bachman books used to be in like a compendium, like all 4 of them put in the same one, which you cannot find now. So if you find it, hold on to it, because it's worth, especially if it's a good shape, it's worth like hundreds of dollars. So if you have it, hold on to that thing. It's
I have a first edition of Thinner somewhere on my shelves and stuff like that. I don't know if you know this, Kyle. Bachman is one of King's what would you call it? Pseudonyms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah, he had to start writing under Bachman because the market was saturated with his work, and so he wanted to see if he could get away with writing some non-supernatural type novels under a different name and do some different work, because he was kind of pigeonholed in that way. And when you can't really do that as an actor, but you can definitely do it as a novelist. So he got away with it for quite a while, until someone, you know, pulled off the Scooby-Doo mask. But she gave me, she also gave me that, and then she gave me The Long Walk. And because the Bachman thing was so big, and Long Walk is in it, I just decided I'd try that one first. So his first novel he actually wrote, Long Walk, and which we're going to talk about later, is the first actual book that I ever read. So, and I get all of Kyle's complaints. I've heard it a lot. I heard it a lot in prison, where people would be like, man, he's describing an orange for 3 chapters. I don't want to read this. But I'm like, what you got someplace to be? So I get it. I get it, but at the same time, I love being immersed in that. In the way that he does it is so diabolical, that really anything less than that, I've been spoiled. Like, I like a lot of other authors now, but if it's not Stephen King, you know, I feel like, you know, if you handed me a book and didn't tell me who wrote it, I'd know it was him just by his writing. So, you know,
I feel his world building is one of the easier type of world buildings to follow along with.
Yes. Yeah, you know, when he describes Salem's Lot, you know what Salem's Lot is. You know what that smell is coming from the kitchen. You know what is going on a train station that he's on. Like, he is able to describe that, and love him or hate him, he's the most prolific writer in the world. You can go to other countries like I have and say Stephen King to people who don't speak English, and they know who Stephen King is. So he is quite literally that's why I forgive him a lot for his trespasses against, you know, well, we won't get into that because we're not going to do politics, but
apparently, he's got some issues. Corey, have you ever read Stephen King before?
No, I have not.
Oh, wow.
I have not.
So, have you watched any of his
movies?
Yeah,
you know what he looks like, right?
Yes, I know what he looks like. Yes, I do. I know what he looks like. I've seen.
You don't know what Stephen King looks like. He's the one who lives across the road over there near the Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, exactly.
Down there yonder.
Yep. No, know what he looks like. I've seen a lot of the movies. I don't know if I shouldn't say all, because I don't know if I have, but I've seen a lot of movies that were adapted from his books. But no, I have not. But I'm the first to admit I'm a slow reader, so audiobooks were a lifesaver for me. And so I've gotten into that a lot more. And then I've been recommended a bunch. The Long Walk was one I was recommended last year. I bought it on the audiobook, and I still haven't listened to it yet. And so now I'm on the fence of whether I want to listen to it before the movie or not.
I would listen to it before the movie. Listen to it before the movie. Yeah,
I would. It's worth. And the guy that does the reading is very good. I am also a huge fan of audiobooks, being you know, doing security work and stuff, and you have to kind of pay attention to what you're doing, so you have to, but you can listen to stuff.
Sure.
And if it's a bad narrator, I guess, then it's, you know, it can pull you completely out of the story. So the ones with good narrators are really good. They can really elevate the material. So but yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that some people are real big audiobook fans. They'll find a narrator that they love, and then they just start searching what other books that they did, even if it's not a book that would have been right at the top of their list, but they just love that narrator so much.
No, absolutely.
Do you like fantasy kind of detective work?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so my favorite book series currently is the Dresden Files, and the audiobook is read by James Marsters, Spike from Buffy, and that's who Jim Butcher originally imagined Dresden being. So the first couple of books, he's not really into it, but towards like probably book 3 or 4, he's like saying spells, and there's like emphasis behind it and stuff, and it's very entertaining. So I would recommend that if you're basing it off audio, like readers and stuff. Yeah, it's very good. Plus,
I actually have
a pretty good
a signed print of some of the artwork for Dresden Files, but I've never read it. So
I love it. It's literally my husband and my favorite book series. We are chomping at the bits for the next book. There's like 3 more books to go for the whole series, so it's very good. I highly recommend it. Okay, all right. I guess we should probably maybe get into.
Oh, what are you here for?
Here. Yeah, right. The Institute. I know. I was quite. So we are covering.
What is it that you know?
I know every. Oh, wait! Before we get into that, I wanted to make an announcement before hitting 1K. I'm so sorry. So normally,
again, Corey.
I know celebrations, right? They do like monetization celebration and stuff. And while I do appreciate it and I want to celebrate, I actually have a plan. I don't know how I'm going to execute it yet, but I'm going to figure it out. I want to pay it forward. So I want to collect a list of accounts that content creators in our sphere that either need to hit 500, 1K, or watch hours, and I want to promote their channels. So I'm going to figure out a time and place. So I definitely want to pay it forward on it, because it really does. It takes a community. It takes everybody being on panels, sharing my stuff, commenting, helping me out, and I want to help others. So I will figure out a time and day that I'm gonna probably in the next few weeks, and then put a list together, and then just spend some time promoting, and maybe have a couple people on. I don't know how I'm gonna work it out, but that's the general idea.
Cool idea.
So, I saw a channel on, I think it was one of your last streams, who mentioned that he lost some subscribers ever since the AI restriction came in.
Mm-hmm.
So good thing they're hopefully the hope is that this being instituted actually helps with monetization and doesn't.
I'm for it.
Yeah, we got to see what happens, but things like that can, there's an adjustment period, it seems.
Yeah, but I know a ton of great content. I mean, Corey needs to be at 500. Corey should be at 10K at this point. There's Jacob Irons. There's a ton of people in the community that I just want to bring some eyes to, right? And see if people want to subscribe to them and such. And people have helped me. I want to pay it forward by helping others. So we'll figure out a list of it. So that is what the celebration is going to entail. And I will figure it out from that point. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right. I guess we should get into the Institute. I just want to say hi quickly to everybody who's popped in. Peepers, what's going on? Nasty Nads. Nasty as ever, Peepers. Nasty as ever.
Hi, Peepers.
Megan, what's going on? I'm good. Peepers, excited to hear everyone's thoughts on this show. Did she watch it with you?
Part of the first episode.
And she dipped out.
Or maybe the whole episode. And then we split from there. I think she watched the second one on her own, and I watched the second one later. Yeah, there's a little preview into how we feel about the thing.
What's up, Anthony? Thank you. Molly is here as well. All right. We're going to get into the Institute. So the Institute that we're covering, that was picked up by MGM Plus, this is the book, The Hefty Girl. It's a hefty one. It's actually really good. What
King novel isn't?
Yes, but this one and The Outsiders don't read as hefty novels. Even though there's like 500 plus pages in here, it doesn't feel like it's 500 plus pages. That in The Outsiders.
Holding it in your hand?
Yeah, no, I meant like reading it.
Even getting through it.
You know when you watch a movie and you go, really, that was 2 hours? That felt like it was like 90 minutes. Or vice versa, right? That was 90 minutes. That felt like 2 hours. That's what look at Foxy. He's got a little paperback.
Yeah, that probably doesn't feel 500 pages right there.
How much?
It's
How many pages?
660.
Probably feels like 100 pages.
Yeah.
Holding it.
But yeah. So it is. I'm not going to read the description because we're talking about the show. The show was picked up. I was actually pretty excited about the fact that the show was picked up because this book is pretty dark. It is pretty. I think it's Stranger Things on a whole new level on it. That's what I liked about it. There are things that happen in episode 1 that they don't put in. They should, to kind of maybe add a little bit more, I like to say, darkness to the show. A little bit more cringe, maybe.
Yes.
I don't, not cringe,
Yes.
but you know what I mean.
The tone of it.
The tone. Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Grittiness.
The grittiness to it. Yeah. The grittiness to the show. So let me pull up this and then I get everybody.
And I'll apologize right now. I watched them back to back, and I'm probably going to start mixing things up between the 2 episodes.
You're fine.
So.
I am okay if we mix it up because I didn't
I'll
expect
try not
them
to.
to
I mean,
release 2 episodes for the first time, but I can see why, and I've got a lot of problems with it. Thank you, Sketch. Thank you very much, guys. I know, right? This is a piss poor adaptation. I'm off the start.
Oh, whoa.
I'll say,
That's my first line. That was my first line. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we've all been holding back and been tight-lipped about this for the past 20 minutes.
Oh, let it go.
How
let
we
it
really
go.
feel about
Spoilers,
this.
everything is fine because we're
but I haven't
covering it
read
as a
it.
live discussion.
But I
No,
can
no,
understand,
you-
you know, and
yeah.
but I haven't read it. But I'm just saying, like, I don't have anything to compare it to, so I can understand if you really love the book and you don't feel like they adapted it well. I could see where that would bother you, but I don't know if that's where I'm coming from. I don't have that hurdle to get over because it's all new
But I
to
think
me.
that's where
and
the writing issues is because they have removed some of this. And I'm not talking like, I'm going to be the youngsters orgy from it that is always removed from that book of any adaptions of it. Yeah. I'm not getting into the details of it, but
guess I didn't know about that one.
yeah, I'm
know.
not going into that. You didn't know this?
You didn't know about that, dude? Nadia,
did you know
please.
about it?
I knew about it. Nadia, go ahead. Let him know. Let him have it.
So this is when the Losers Club is younger, not as adults. And there is a portion of the book where they, in a sense, feel defeated by Pennywise. And they're lost in the sewers, I think. Toxic can correct me because it's been a long time.
Yeah,
since
you're
I've
right.
read
So
the
They're
book.
in the sewers, yeah.
And what's her name? Beverly decides that, I'm going to say is PG, taking maybe the virginity of the rest of the group will reconnect them, rebond them.
Right, because
all
their
at once.
power is in the magic of the 7, and
Yes.
after they do their initial defeat in the 50s of or 80s, depending on which timeline you look at, when they defeat him in the beginning, there's still enough leftover evil to confuse them, so they'll all die down in the tunnels and in the labyrinth. So her idea is to lay down in the shit water and take each one of the boys' virginities one by one in a junior high GB session.
Yeah. And so
So
that
it's
is
more
not
of a romance novel than you're saying.
But the thing is, you have to understand if you've read it,
Yeah,
Beverly
I'm
has
sorry, I'm
been-
just trying to lighten it.
Beverly has been incestually aid the
No, it was a
entire
good
time
one.
as her childhood. So so like if you ever look at King when he posts stupid shit, people are like, but you wrote a book about kids doing
Right.
this. Like, why would
Right.
I trust your opinion of it? So
Why would
it's never
anyone
gonna,
trust him to be just in any situation?
like, why would you let him babysit?
Why would
The first thing I said when I was done with this book, I was like, why the hell does he like torturing kids so much in all of his
He
books?
loves kids, man. It
Yeah,
is-
I've
yeah.
read
Hey,
every...
you know the phrase "write what you know"?
Right. Well, I've read...
snap. Sorry, Nadia.
That's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
I've
So
read
I
everything
expected
that
this
he's
from
ever up to his current stuff. I can tell you that, especially in the earlier years, even his short stories have some form of child essay or child abuse.
Yeah, that's
One or the
suspect.
other. Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah,
It is. It
like,
is.
Like, kind of jokes aside, mostly, but just to say that, like, at the very least, that is suspect. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Nadia, do you think MGM will allow darker stuff? I mean, I would say, and Toxic can maybe disagree with me, From has a little bit of a darker tone to it added in. And they could have they could have even maybe gone to that level. And who knows, we might see darker stuff further down the line. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So we are talking about episode 1, The Boy. The Boy. A teen genius wakes up in a strange place full of children who got the same way he did and who all, like him, possess unusual abilities. We will be talking about spoilers for the book and the show throughout this. So warning to everybody, if you haven't watched the show or if you plan on watching or plan on reading the book, there will be a little bit of spoilers to it. So how did everybody feel about our main character, Luke?
Bad casting.
Compared to everyone else, I think he does a okay job. Obviously, he's a string bean looking tall guy, or young man. But in terms of like his voice is better than the way that he looks. His eyes are very buggy. He does a lot of like that type of stuff. And but his voice is deeper, and I think that works actually. Yeah,
I thought it kind of fit a little bit. I mean, because he does look awkward, and I don't know if that's what he's socially awkward, and he's younger than everybody. He's so much smarter, so he's just I don't know. I thought he portrayed kind of that awkward feel. So maybe that buggy eyes was part of that too. He's just in a different world, and he doesn't know how to socialize and hang out with the older kids like that.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't have much of a problem with it.
Yeah,
with his casting, I was fine. I thought he was fine. Not great, not a standout, but fine.
I thought it was fine for the yeah. Rachel and I've read the book Toxic 2. In the book, he's a little bit more assertive, I would say. He's got a little bit more cojones in a sense. Yes. He's also 12 in the book, where here he's depicted as 14. So he's a little bit younger in the book as well.
Yeah, and that can be tricky, because if you get too young with a character like that who's very assertive and is supposed to be smart, this is why you have to be very careful with casting, because then they can come across as just a brat. And you don't want your main character to come across that way.
I like the setup. We're setting him up to be this genius, right? He's taking a test for grades way above him. He's going to be accepted to MIT. He has a conversation with his parents the night before the night of before he's in a sense kidnapped, talking about his choices of where he wants to go. He also has light telekinesis powers that he has to focus very hard to just maybe knock over something. It's not like he can yet lift something up and throw it at somebody. So,
or like in one of the situations, like something triggers it, and even if it's not intentional, like an emotion, when they're talking about that move to MIT in the pizza place.
Before you move forward, I did like that scene, even though I don't like the actor. I did like that scene. I thought they played this scene very well. That it was like, this is a teenager. He's really smart. This other chick is probably she's wanting to get, valedictorian or something like that, doesn't realize how pretty she is and the effect that she has on dudes. I can remember this as such a clear core memory of being like, because Toxic wasn't always toxic. Once upon a time, Toxic was kind of awkward, and just when hot chicks came around to ask for help with their literature work or something like that, because I can speed read, they'd come around and lean in a little too close, not realizing, or maybe they do realizing, although I think in this scene, it portrays it as she's just visibly upset that she thinks she tanked an easy question. She got tricked on a question.
Yeah, she forgot to emphasize or do the parentheticals, which is what you're supposed to do first. Well, I'm terrible at math, and I even know that.
Well, she overthought the question. She's one of those typical smart people that overshot during a big test and stuff like that, because she overthought it, and his analytical brain is able to simplify it, and he's at the same time above her and at the same time below her, because like she's this really pretty stacked chick, and she's like leaning into him, and you can see he's awkward, glad he's got a thing of books to cover the boner and stuff like that. So I thought this played really well.
I actually wasn't paying attention to these Nadia, can you scroll. First of all, is the
played
young
exactly out
lady
like that in
is
the
the
book.
young lady bodacious? I'll use
Yeah.
that word.
Yeah.
I think it was just the whole
she is,
fact
yes.
of
Depends. Is
Watch
she a
his
blue
eyes.
blade?
If you watch his eyes, he's not
Yeah,
trying
that
to
makes
look
sense.
at her. Yeah.
No, that does make sense. Yeah,
He's trying so hard to like be that's funny.
that's a
right?
great that's a great shot right
Nadia.
there. Yeah,
Good job, Nadia. He's trying
proof is
so
in the bug
hard.
eyes right there.
Yeah, he's trying so hard not to be a creeper, and she's just oblivious to it, and she's really upset that she tanked what should have been an easy question. But I mean, it's the reason why that question was put in there, and he's at the same time sympathetic to her, and at the same time, and this is the kind of writing that you get from King. He's able to, and when they're able to convey it in real life form, whether it be a TV show or a movie, I'm always really grateful. Because it's such a King detail, the kind of stuff that Kyle was kind of fussing about. Like he puts too much, but this is the kind of stuff that it feels very true to me, So and I liked it a lot. I think the actress that does this, and I'm sure this is all the time we're ever going to see her. She's great in this. She knocks it out of the park. She really looks distressed that she bombed.
I thought she was from.
Kelly
Is
from
she?
From.
Is she Kelly from
there
From?
we go. Samuel.
No way.
Samuel got it.
Sounds
Yeah.
funny when you say it.
Samuel, yeah.
I was like, she
saying
looked
that.
super familiar, and I was like, oh,
Man,
okay.
good
Probably a
job.
lot of
Good
these
job.
actors probably have studio deals where they are
Sure.
like kind of like HBO, where they're put
Thank you,
into different
Samuel.
projects.
No, that's
the
great.
studio has. Yeah.
No, that's great. But yeah, she but I doubt we'll see her again in this show, I guess is what I meant.
No.
So
Oh yeah.
I thought this scene played very well. I like the way they did it. It's just the editing of everything as it comes together as you're about to go to the next set piece.
It's not even the editing, it's the set pieces too, especially when they get into the Institute. I know they're trying to, in a sense, make this place like their bedrooms to be their bedrooms, but the main hall bothers the shit out of me of how bad it looks.
Same.
It looks like they hired a high school crew to build like something on stage to me.
Okay.
No, they
Yeah,
just redressed the high school from Dawson's Creek.
It looks it looks so bad.
I
don't
knew
wanna
I
wait
saw it somewhere before.
It almost looks like they're
Exactly.
CGI'd into it at certain points too. Like it doesn't look real to me in
I hear
certain
ya.
aspects, and I don't like it. I don't like
And
it.
Kyle
that
would
point,
know
yeah.
because he looks like a character from Dawson's Creek. Am I right? Am I
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
snap.
the day player that comes in and then everyone forgets about.
Oh, here we go.
Anyway.
Fun fact, while you have this paused,
Yeah.
he's the famous son of someone. Does anyone
Yep.
know?
Yeah.
Yep.
You want me to say or you want to do it?
Yeah, Toxic.
It's he's a Baggins, isn't he? Isn't he a Baggins? That's why he's such a bad actor, because he's a fucking UK and he can't get the American accent right.
Ooh, I wonder if this is
which
also
actor?
his first role. Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman.
Oh, wait.
That's why he looks familiar.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's not in this.
No,
he's
this
Martin
is his
Freeman's
kid.
son.
This is his kid.
Oh,
That's why this kid is.
Huh.
Yeah. Some people can pull off.
he
an
made
good-
that?
Yeah. He made that.
Dude, the kid is like 18. He's not fully grown, all right? Give him a minute. Maybe he'll grow into his ears, all right?
No,
I'm
like
looking him up on
Martin
IMDb.
Freeman is really short. This kid looks really tall.
Oh.
Okay, so he
a
had
lot meaner.
one episode in Doctors, and he did a music video, one episode in Doctors, and then this is his first big TV show. So
Yeah. It was a
So
mistake.
is he
Poor kid.
so based off his acting that we've seen so far, would you guys call him a Nepo baby?
Oh, for sure. Oh, he's for
Yeah,
sure
absolutely.
a Nepo baby.
Yeah, I
His
wish
third-
you
his
didn't
third
tell
job
me
after
that.
a music video, and
Actually.
he's the star of a miniseries. Bro, of course he's Nepo. Nepo. is
Yeah, I'm gonna
fun.
have to add him to my list because I'm literally compiling a list of actors, and it's getting big. That the market and the industry is being saturated by children of famous people, and it's annoying because I've said it
It is.
before, and I'll keep saying it. It's taking away the opportunities of other actors who
Right.
would have the opportunity otherwise, but because they're so far back in the line, those Nepo kids have an advantage. They're closer up the line, and they have people opening the doors for them, and it's
It's
yeah. I could say, oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's like, well, you can do that, but I only think it's valid when the child is like a standout. You know, like one big example, and an actor
Bill
who
Paxton's
handled
kid.
it. He's not much of a standout. I think he's an example of someone who was like a better actor could do something like that. So an actor who did it
Nice
well,
try, Nadia.
who did it well. Well, get this: an actor who even tried to do it gracefully. He even changed his name from Coppola to Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and you know what? He ends up being one of the greatest actors that we know.
Yeah, I mean,
in cinema history.
I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of nepoism, but I
Under
would say
Jennifer Lawrence.
there's
Wait, what about Jen?
Oh, under Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is number one. Don't ever forget that.
As
action star.
As
Yeah,
an
you don't know the
action
joke.
star.
oh, that
star.
quote.
First
Yeah,
acting
yeah,
star.
okay, yeah.
First
She's the
female
first
action
action star.
star. Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of good nepo kids. He's not one of them. But now, and the reason why I'm even addressing it as much as I am and really giving this kid shit is because he gets so much screen time in the beginning. I think they made a huge mistake, and I'll bring this up at the end when we do our book stuff versus the way the book is done and the way the show is done. I think this would have been one of those moments where it would have been better to stick with how they present the book. So you've got Ben Barnes here from The Punisher, and he's a Brit, and he has mastered the American accent. He's got it locked down. So you juxtapose those two actors against each other, and I don't care if the kid's 18. I don't care. That doesn't mean nothing to me. I mean, he's 18. He's old enough to go fight. You know, he's old enough to vote. He's old enough to be a showrunner. He's going to take my criticism. Maybe he'll be better later, but whatever. But Ben has definitely locked down the American accent, and he does it very well here. So I think this scene is good for what it is, where we see this guy kind of having a crisis in life and meandering, and it shows us one of our other main characters, and he's I do like the scene. I think it was done a little bit better in the book, but I mean it's fine for what it is. It doesn't take anything away from it. We get the gist. We get it. This guy's kind of at a loss. Tim Jamieson, he's at a loss in his life, and he's kind of going on a pilgrimage to kind of find himself again or whatever, because he's made a bad mistake. And we see he takes an opportunity in the things that go on after COVID to kind of just freewheel it.
So those of you that know, and I don't know if this would add a little bit more context for Corey and Kyle, is you get the gist of why he's ran away within these two episodes. Is that there was some kid who brought a gun to a mall and was and he took care of it, right? He had to save the people of the mall, right? In the book, and I don't know if they're gonna address it, but in the book, something similar plays out, but instead the kid has a fake gun. It's not a real one. So this kid was just waving around a fake gun, and
he blew him away.
Yeah, pretty much. And he, similar to what's going on now, drinks himself, marriage collapse. So he's trying to find himself, and similar to the book where he becomes a night walker for a town. Night knocker. Yeah. But the problem is, it makes sense in the book of having the chapters flip between Tim and Luke back and forth, and the kids, and then you also get some villain point of view. But here, I don't think it works. Because I feel like sometimes we're about to get into it with like something going on with Luke at the Institute, and then all of a sudden we're with Tim. Or
it's
vice
very
versa,
jarring.
And it feels like two different shows.
Yeah,
feels like I'm watching either a rookie, like a cop show about a redemption arc, and then I'm watching about
a really slow one, and that's a good way to describe it, Nadia. Two shows. It feels like it's very jarring.
That's how
I'm actually curious to know what you guys who haven't read the book thought of the quick cut from Luke to Tim. Did it feel very jarring? Because it felt jarring to me, and I even knew what was happening. It just was like, it was like you accidentally sat on the remote and you went to another channel or something like that. It's so badly edited.
Remember in TiVo, you would switch, like back and forth so many times, or even just regular TV. If you're watching one show, commercial comes on, flip to the next or the other channel you're watching, right? And then you try to time them out,
Right. Or in prison, you give somebody a ramen noodle and he switches the channels when the commercials come on.
I see what you're saying on that, but I guess it didn't bother me that much, and maybe I'm too casual of a watcher. So there's some of these things that you're bringing up. I definitely can see them, but I don't think they bothered me as much. and that's where maybe I'm not looking into it enough, or like I said, maybe I'm a little more of a casual watcher and got into it. And I don't know, there might be some opinions later. It might surprise you from me.
Hey, I'm all for it. If we all had different opinion, listen, if we all had the same fucking opinion, life would be so boring. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
we'd be open bar.
So I guess I didn't get thrown
Nice.
off. I didn't I didn't get thrown off with the switch. I definitely see what you're saying, and it was a quick cut over and all of a sudden, but I guess I followed along. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with
I
that at all.
completely agree with you, Corey. I have a problem because working in the industry for so long, like especially if it's special effects, anything effects, I'm looking at it from a critical point of view. I can't turn off that part of my brain.
Right.
But
I just don't have that experience,
Yeah.
And
But if I'm watching something like, I don't know, a comedy or something that doesn't usually entail in something like horror or action that I would be used to, I don't notice things like this. But I'm curious, Corey, would you have watched this show out of like if it just came up as a recommendation, would you have tuned in if you read the description of it?
Good question.
I would have looked at it, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know it was coming out until you asked me to be on the stream.
So it wouldn't have happened.
Unless, but if it was like on, and this was a different add-on that I had to get to be able to watch this. So, if it, say it was on one of the streaming services I had and it popped up, I'd be interested to see what it would be about. If I read the synopsis, I'd be interested to find out, but it's on, I don't know how big of a streaming service, the MGM Plus is. I didn't have it before this, but I was like, I'll check it out. But I wouldn't have paid the money for that to watch it after you asked me to be a part of this. I read what it was about first, and it interested me enough to be like, yeah, I'd sub for a, whatever amount of time at least to get through the series. So whatever that says for you.
I will say the book definitely has a lot more horror elements to it they are completely just either has removed and we'll get to it. There's a really important part of it. I think Rachel knows what I'm talking about, especially when Luke is kidnapped right off the bat. So, yeah.
What a great scene that was.
Oh, bro.
Mom? Whatever you want, kid.
Yeah, I'll admit on some of the...
What?
I do like this character, though. This Tim.
I like
Jamieson.
Ben Barnes for a
Or
lot
Ben
of
Barnes.
reasons.
Yeah, I like him.
I like this
Just
character,
hard to
and I
learn.
like Ben Barnes. If you had asked me to cast this, I would have casted Ben Barnes in this. He plays this really well. If this winds up being something and improves over time, this may be one of his better roles. He's not as good as a villain. I think he plays the Joe Everyman very, very well.
Yeah. Yeah. He plays a lot of things very, very well.
Fair enough.
Sorry. Thank you, Rick. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Listen, he's in a fantasy show for Netflix called Shadow and Bone that got canceled, I think, after 2 seasons. And he's called the Darkling, right? And he's like the villain dude that the main protagonist is like oohing and awing about and stuff, and has like is an attraction to. So my husband and I have labeled him the Dark Dickling, because he like because she just wants to be dicked down by him. Sorry, this is not a kid-friendly show. Constantly.
Jesus.
So yeah. So,
I mean,
yeah.
have you seen your background? It's the spatters of blood, Nadia.
Sorry.
Little did I know where this stream was going to go.
Sorry. I think this is a very touching moment in the book that they have completely just sprinkled in.
Yeah.
His relationship with his parents are actually, yes, Rachel, right? Go, Rachel.
That's what they did. They squished it down into just like a little minuscule moment. This was like at least 2 or 3 chapters in the book. It was, anyway, go ahead.
I could tell that they rushed through the introduction of this character.
Yeah.
They show this
so
scene
weird.
And then the next one he gets kidnapped.
Yeah, it's so
Correct.
weird that they took all that time to make that one side thing with the hot girl distracting him so intricate and did that so well, and yet the more important thing with his parents, specifically with his mom, gets really glazed over. I don't get that. That's such a weird choice to do.
He has such
in the book, both parents were not asleep. And here they were both asleep. In the book, they were not asleep. It was way more of a mess, and then that's what leads into like having to explain it later in the elevator. It just I don't know why they chopped it up. I don't know why they didn't follow the book like they should have.
This was a
It would have
mistake.
been less jarring. Correct.
This
Even
is when
in
go
the
ahead.
book he has a very close relationship with his parents. This is not a broken family. They're very proud of his son. They want the best for him. He understands because he's a very intelligent boy. He picks up on cues and stuff. So there's great heart-to-heart moments with his parents leading up to the kidnapping. But this is a scene in the book that they completely just decided, here's his parents, and we're just going to kind of throw them to the side once he gets kidnapped.
And it was MIT and Emerson. They cut all of that out. Like kind of like even dumbed him down just by saying MIT. I was like, no. Emerson was in there. Okay, Boston represent.
At the end of the day, I mean, I guess you kind of have to compress some stuff when you turn adaptations, and I'm not against that. On when I do consider the source, I usually side with the adaptations because I'm totally fine with killing your darlings a little bit, but I think there's important stuff here that they definitely glazed over so they could hurry up and get him to the institute. And I guess I get that from a screenwriter standpoint, but as a novelist, I'm like, yeah, that was a poor choice. They shouldn't have done that. So,
well, from a screenwriting point of view, so he gets kidnapped within 10-12 minutes of the first episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond that, what I noticed is that there are very few significant beats through this episode, and even the second episode too. There are pretty much only two events that occur through a nearly 50-minute episode. Yeah, and collectively 2 hours.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours of two episodes that do not develop well enough. I just think back on so many shows that we grew up watching in the 90s and early 2000s that made me, there's a connection to Lost here. Jack Bender is a director on this, and he directed most, if not a lot, at least a lot of episodes of Lost.
Yeah.
And yet I am watching this show and I'm just thinking, what happened to when like significant events would occur, just beat by beat, instead of we're just stretching this out. And it's like, what's the point of this? What's the point of that? I'm just asking myself, and I'm more critical of an eye because I deal with storytelling and I've done it for a job, and I do it just when I was younger. I would assess stories and it would progress over time. And now I'm at this point where it's just, you really got to have your shit together if you're going to hook me. The thing that I say about TV shows is a show has to hook me within tops 3 episodes.
Yeah, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
That's what Chris gives it to. Yep.
No,
I will.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Corey. No, go ahead.
I just
Corey.
say two really quick things. What Toxic was saying, that was exactly what I was going to say. Even though I didn't know the book, I felt like they really rushed. They were wanting to get to that institute really, really quickly, and it felt like they ran through those scenes. I'll agree with that completely. They ran through them really quick. But what I was talking about earlier with the pizza place, I kind of like that, where you kind of figure out his power with the the TK, and that he doesn't have full control over it, and emotions can bring it out of him, because he was getting a little worked up, because his father kind of made him make his stand and like, no, just why do you want to do this? And he was getting a little worked up, and the pizza tray starts rattling, and then it falls off the table. And I don't know, to me, maybe that's insignificant, but I was like, okay, he's got these powers. Whether he knew he had them or not at that point, he definitely doesn't have control over them. And, if he gets worked up.
Yeah, I was confused by that scene because it looked as though he knew what he was doing, and ambiguously if the parents knew about his powers. It was so strangely done. It was confusing.
Because it was rushed.
Yeah.
Because it was rushed.
Yeah. They wanted.
I'm going to
They
spoil
do,
a big aspect of the book. They kill his parents. He knows. They know.
At what point?
He knows.
When they kidnapped.
So right at the same night that he's kidnapped.
Yes.
And obviously they don't tell him. They give him the bullshit story of, you're going back to your parents.
No, he sees them being killed.
Oh,
he sees them
in the book.
Hmm.
Do you think that might have added maybe some gravity?
Huge fucking tension to when he's in the institute. Yes.
He definitely wouldn't have been as calm and cool as he is in the show.
Exactly.
I mean, he learned, because he's a smart kid, right? He's above average in IQ. So he realizes that he has to play along until he can figure out how to get out. So that to me would add a little bit more depth to his character.
They
right?
should
Like,
they should have done that.
Mhm.
That would have
exactly.
the
also
tension
explains the future scene that he does.
And if they had done it that way, it would have been a situation where, if he is acting, and I do like her quote, and I do use it a lot, and I probably got it from Stephen King, the whole "too cool for school." If when she says "too cool for school," he really is, because he knows something that they don't know, but we as the audience know. So now that makes us more invested into Luke, because we're in on it with him. Like he knows that the parents are dead, but has to play along like he's believing their bullshit lie, and we are in on that secret with him against the Institute and the various villains. I think that would have been a much better choice. And now later, of course, they could put it in that, he kind of knew all along or whatever, and that's fine if they do. But I think I would have written it as, listen, I know they're actually dead, and they
I'll
think
tell you
that
exactly how they're gonna do this in this show, and I bet on it. He's gonna discover some files, like they're going through some stuff, and they're gonna find a file on him and see that his parents were deceased, and that's how he's gonna find.
We don't know,
like an easy cop out on it too. Like they're gonna add some easy cop out to make him have an emotional reaction, which might ruin whatever plan he has at that time in something. It's very typical thing, but yes, this is one of the biggest things out of the book, especially in the beginning, that helps kind of launch this character into the type of person he is at the Institute, what he's going through and stuff, the emotional, because he's got to keep it together, but he's now grieving his parents. But no, instead we get this, we get it Disney-fied, where it's just
a little bit.
Yeah. And it also drives his motivation to continue on to get these people,
Yeah. It doesn't become so much a let's escape the Institute. It's so much becomes like, let's take down the Institute.
Bring down.
Right.
Yeah.
And here's another thing that they could have done. If you don't want to kill the parents, well, the presumption here is the ambiguity that the parents are dead, but we don't know that yet. And he doesn't know that yet. Mm-hmm. Talking about Luke. Mm. The thing that they could have done was, if you made it so that one of my lights went out. If you made it so that the Luke had powers but didn't realize that he did, but suspected that he did, and there was an incident that he thinks that he caused, maybe an accident that killed somebody, perhaps, or hurt somebody, that would weigh on his conscience, and he would be conflicted when he gets into the Institute to think that maybe he deserves to be there.
Yeah.
To be punished.
Yep. I feel it takes away the risk of what's going on. I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to think of it. It's just like, I don't know, the weight the weight of it and such. But what's up, Brandon? By the way, folks, Brandon's documentary, George Romero's Resident Evil, is up for vote for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards. Voting is until the 20th. So if you are so kind and you listen to what I tell you to do, please go vote for him. And the George Romero Resident Evil documentary is one of the best. If you're a Resident Evil fan, if you're a horror George Romero fan, if you love film, if you're a love of film, please go check it out. It's very, very good. And I had Brandon on to discuss about it too. So
just wrote it down. I'll check it out later.
I've seen the Resident Evil movies. I think I've played one game, and I learned so much about what George Romero went through with the script that he wrote for the movie and stuff like that and things. So highly recommend it. But yes, go vote for him in the Fangoria. All right, I gotta sing. For fuck's sake, cancel Disney Plus.
Beautiful.
Thank you. All right. So he's kidnapped, and I agree. That one-liner, like, if you say so, you're. Do
Whatever,
I have my-
If you say so, he says
Yeah.
mom,
Yeah.
and she goes, yeah, if you say so, kid, whatever you want.
Sure.
Why are my subtitles not coming on? Oh, there it is.
Which I did like that the
Sure,
fact
kid,
that
whatever you
I
want.
wrote down all the ones they pulled some lines from the book, and I was like, "Oh, that's directly from the book. That's cool." So
What is
they
it?
tried.
Can't is a beta,
The
something.
beta word.
The beta word
Can't
is a
Yeah.
beta
word.
word.
from the greaser.
That's the best. That's the best line I've heard so far. And now we get him kidnapped, but then we're back to Tim.
Yeah, this is very jarring. This is not well done. This is the point when I messaged you guys in the group chat on X, and I said, 30 minutes in, I'm not happy. Hopefully this improves or something along those lines. Because I was like, dude, what's happening right now? Like this is messing up all of the pacing. Like this is not good. This is not a good way to do this.
A better way they could have done this was first episode on Luke, getting up to the point of kidnapping. Don't even show the Institute. Play out let us know our character, play it out, let us know the relationship with the parents. It's all rainbows and sunshine, and then he gets kidnapped, and then credits. Episode 2, we're introduced to Tim then. We get Tim's story, and then somehow loop it in, and then we get into 3 into the Institute. This whole back and forth between this, and I get it, they're rushing, right? They want you to know who is who and put the important players on the board. But I don't have any emotional attachment to anyone yet. I could care less if any of these kids make it out, or if something happens to them.
Cold.
kids.
That's cold.
Damn.
No.
I guess,
I'm the one
I guess
that
we know
said
who
for
Nadia would be
Aliens
in the show,
that-
don't we?
Listen, I was one for Aliens that said Ripley should just leave Newt and run. All right, why are we saving a random
That's
kid?
horrible. What is wrong
Go.
with you? What is
Granted,
wrong
I watched
with
the
you?
edition that I didn't know about her backstory with her daughter, but nevertheless,
Regardless,
fuck them kids.
Holy shit.
Where are your maternal instincts, Nance?
Nah, listen. That's the thing. I have a maternal instinct, but I don't care of any of these kids. I don't care. Except, even in the book, I had a closer attachment to Avery. And when we get to Avery, episode 3,
You need to get a shirt that says I have maternal instincts, but fuck them kids.
yes.
Nadia mostly leaves me at night.
Mostly.
So this is where we learn a little bit of Tim's backstory of that he's actually a good cop. Like he's a decorated cop, and he's kind of just floating from town to town, just trying to find himself again, as Toxic said. So yeah, I
think he plays this very well. I mean, I know you're saying you're not attached to the kids, and to be fair, really, I'm not either. To be, I'm just messing with you mostly. But I think I liked him, and I liked him for personal reasons as well. Like I am a night knocker, so I mean that's something that I understand what he's like the whole idea. It's very. I'm like, oh cool, he's got the gear, and he does the chuck mark and stuff like that. So
hey, Toxic, what the hell is that giant compass he's holding?
It's basically. Go ahead.
What is it? Yeah, no, go ahead. What is it? When you like?
Yeah, so different places have different. Sometimes they'll call them a key pro. Sometimes they'll call them a watch tour. So basically, it's just a way they know you're not off sleeping in your car. They have the same thing in prisons when you work the tier in prisons on the overnight shift and on the day shift too. Although the day shift, everyone's there, so it doesn't really matter. But you have to. They have an electronic version of it right now. Here, I've got mine. I can show you what mine's electronic.
Is it like you scan a QR code now? They're like
basically, yeah. Well, you can't. Yeah, you can't really. His is like she says, it's the analog version. It's
but each place has a different key that turns.
Are there other than like security for certain things? Do certain towns still have night knockers?
Oh yeah, the town I'm in I'm a night knocker in my town.
I thought you meant like at your job right now. You're a night knocker.
Yeah, I am at my night knocker job literally right now.
How do I apply? I think I would be good as a night knocker.
I think you would be good at it. Yeah, you gotta. I mean,
you have to have no paternal and no maternal instincts.
Yeah, no.
I'd be check.
Middle of. I'd be
check
very,
check again. When I go take a pee break, I'll go grab my watch tour thing. It just looks like it looks like a standard key fob, and you scan it on. And now it's more technologically sufficient. But the one that he has is what I had back when I first started, when I was a prison guard at the old military prison back in 2000. So so it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to watch that, and the monotonous thing, and it's better described in the book, certainly, because of course it is, but I think they give it a pretty good amount of detail in this, and the dialogue is on point, and the reason why somebody that would have been a decorated veteran having a tragedy and going to this, it makes sense. It rings very true to me, because you still have those cop instincts and you still want to do the job, but you don't want the excitement of it. You can't deal with, I think the job he was heading for would have been more cop like or whatever, but he's much happier just doing this medium cop thing,
and he's not carrying a gun,
right? And he's not carrying a gun. That's
what the hell's up with that?
Well, it's because you kind of pick up on it. They're probably going to go with a similar story. It's because he blew that kid away that brought in the gun to the mall. This backstory that he gives, that he was pulling up, he was off duty. He had a couple of drinks. He was going to a shoe store in a mall. Some lady ran out, saw a guy with a rifle going in, and he shot the kid. And in the book, the kid had a fake gun, so it gave him a PTSD in a sense. So that's why he doesn't want to carry a gun anymore.
Oh, he doesn't want to. It's not that the
It's
upper management is discriminating that you killed a kid. We cannot give you a gun this time.
No. But to be fair, some towns, including this one, your night knocker position will be unarmed. It'll be an unarmed security position. So
that works out well for him.
And I think that's
he's
why
like
he
an
wants
Avenger.
it.
He's able to get around it. Go ahead, Corey. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, I think that's why he specifically wanted that position. He could still fulfill some of his cop instincts and have that job, but it was a position that did not require carrying a firearm.
Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he didn't, because of that tragedy that he's still dealing with.
Yeah.
Hey, a night knocker is not going to get taken over by AI. That job's not going to be taken over by AI. You're still going to need people patrolling until we get robots.
Yeah,
maybe then we'll be
when the T-1000 comes around.
Well, they make the point to say the hot deputy cop. She makes the point to say, hey, in a small town like this where we only have so many deputies, it's an essential thing. It's like police adjacent kind of. It's like so, and it's good. And I like in the book he has to have a second job in order to because it doesn't pay very much, and it's not a you're not gonna. It's usually for like retired people like me who are retired and can live off of another income, but just need a little bit of extra plus something to just kind of do where you still have some cop skills and stuff.
How did we feel about the fact that this institute likes to spend the time and money in recreating these kids' bedrooms?
Dumb.
What's the point when immediately all they have to do is open the drapes and it's clearly that's an artificial fluorescent light?
Mm-hmm. Is it to just not give them a startle? But it doesn't make any sense.
I think what they're trying to, I might be reading too much into it, but I think what they're trying to do is to say, look, we made this gesture, like he says, but I think it's also to say, look how on point, look how we know you're super skilled and super smart with your TP or TK. We know that, and you yourself are really intelligent. But look at the attention to detail we can do. It's really impressive, isn't it? It's like saying, look how much power we have. We can completely recreate your bedroom by time you wake up.
It's like psychological warfare.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Put him on the back foot.
But they missed one little thing, and he was able to catch it.
Yeah,
and that's what got him looking around the jersey.
And his computer's gone too. On top of it. But yet they left the TV in the room.
This is a little nitpicky thing, but how the hell did he rip the underneath his armpit, that portion of the shirt, while he was playing basketball?
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
He just makes a shot with his friend, and all of a sudden, what?
I literally do that all the time.
That's such the strangest place to have a rip. He didn't catch it onto a fence. If he did, that would make sense.
He just has such a violent layup.
Maybe
shot.
his telekinesis did it.
Are they implying? Yeah. So we just thought of that at the exact same time. Is that what they're implying?
Yeah, that's it.
That his mind ripped his shirt? Okay. They need to show that then. Not that he noticed it, but the camera would show it ripped by itself.
He just noticed it now. Maybe
he got upset he missed the basket.
That's true, because I watched it twice. I watched it again today earlier, and I did notice it. I was like, how did that rip? You were just shooting. How did you do that? So yeah, I
Growing
think it might.
boys.
I think
I don't know
Rick's
what
right. Yeah.
Growing boys, right?
Yep.
Must. I don't know. What? I don't know. I don't know how they.
Yeah.
All right. So
you'll never know.
you'll never know. So
Oh,
he's
no.
introduced to our
this fucking character. Oh,
our
God.
next.
Oh no, you don't like Shaw?
Okay,
Shaw.
immediately when this character introduces herself as okay, so her name is I have it in my notes. Where the fuck is it? It's
Kalisha.
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 Yeah, and
Yeah.
she says, "People call me Shaw." Okay. That's like some fucking cool thing that a screenwriter thought was. If it's in the book, I still think it's ridiculous. It's such a contrived nickname.
It's like somebody who gives himself a nickname. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man, my nickname's Champ or something. I don't know.
Okay.
You know.
Well, you know
It's
what?
in the book.
My sister years ago when I was growing up tried to make Kai a thing for me, and it didn't fucking catch on because she was trying too hard.
Now it will. What's up? Kai?
No. You saying that, you fucking know you're never gonna say that again because you know it sounds lame.
Oh wait. The next time you have me on your show, well, I'll just wait for the perfect moment.
Yeah, but you're just gonna do it for ironic reasons.
It's the only reason why.
But genuinely speaking, on a baseline, you would say, "Oh, that's ridiculous."
Rick brings up a good point, and I have the question for the panel. You're distressed. You're figuring out that you're not actually in your room. You open your door. You're leading to this hallway, and the opposite sex, whether you're a woman or a man on the panel, same age, kisses you right off the bat. A stranger.
How old is he in the show?
14.
14.
Oh yeah, okay, because he's ahead of he's in grades that are ahead of him his age. How old is she?
She's right around the same age as him in the book.
Yeah.
I assume probably here too as well.
Yeah.
Or
She
at
looks
least
like
I
it.
think she's older. Like
I thought she looked
if
older, but
if he's 14, she's at least 16, I would say, maybe around there.
Yeah, so just I got a glimpse of myself at 14, and if someone who behaved and spoke the way that she did, and she was very indifferent and just like unemotional, it's very off-putting the way that this actress plays it, and part of it can be to Jack Bender and the script, etc. There are many factors that are in here, but yeah, that's very off-putting, and he just like lets it happen, you know. He doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't react really, you know.
That's probably his first kiss too. On top of
that's
it,
what I was gonna say. He probably just didn't know how to react, and he's so socially awkward. I think from the earlier scenes, kind of seeing how he reacted around the girl with the math question. But
Yeah.
even at 14, if somebody like that tried to kiss me, I'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, why you got your face?"
Well,
so
yeah,
close to me?"
especially women, especially females, when that happens at a young age. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And for her to say, I think it's the second time she does it, to say such a bitch thing as, don't think it's romantic.
Because she
Just
has
chicken
like
pox.
chicken pox. She's trying to spread.
It's just chicken.
I love
pox.
Megan's point. She's the manic pixie dream girl.
She's
That's pretty
obnoxious.
good.
I can't
She is.
stand that character.
I don't like any of these kids. I don't even like our main character.
There's
So-
a way to play that. Look, there's a way to play that character if you have, Jack. Look, Jack, you messed up here. You didn't direct her in the way that to make her empathetic. You can make characters weird in an endearing way, and this actress just plays it in such a emotionally removed and strange way. She's not connecting to in any of these characters. She's in her own world. She's not
And
connecting.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. In the book, I know people who haven't read it. She was more of the motherly figure. She was more caring. She had been there the longest. She looked over almost everyone, including Luke. For her to come off as standoffish, cold, I'm going to kiss you now and not tell you until the second time I kiss you, and I don't know what they're doing.
It comes off as YA
Jack,
fan fiction.
you fucked up.
And one could say, oh, Kyle, it's a defense mechanism because she's in a traumatic environment. Okay, that needs to be shed at a certain point. Like, if you want to introduce the character that way and make it alienating, then make that on purpose, and then you have to change the script, like flip the script. I'm using the metaphor of that, and show that she's not really that way. But through each episode, she is that way. She doesn't change. She's the same.
The only thing they did keep that I did notice rewatching the episodes is that they kept the hope alive in her, which I found odd because everything else about her is standoffish and cold. But yet they did keep that hope that, because in the book she has like this hope that the back half is not as bad as everyone says it is and stuff like that. So she still thinks she's going to get out. She still thinks it's going to be okay. That's the only thing that they kept.
Question for Corey and Kyle, because you guys haven't read the books. Do you, off the bat, based off these 2 episodes, do you think the back half is a good place? Just by context.
The what?
I thought you asked something else. What was
the back half? Where they graduate when they see the dots, they graduate.
Oh, okay.
Rachel knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know where you guys are going with it, but
okay, no. Ask it again. I know what you're asking now, but what?
The context that you're given about the back half in these 2 episodes.
Yes.
Do you think it is actually a good place that they go to?
No, I don't have I have a feeling that it's not.
It's a weird place. It's a weird.
No, there's not enough happening. I've said it before. I'll say it again, just like Ferris Bueller did. Yeah, life moves pretty fast. Unfortunately, these episodes don't.
So, no, but the place they graduate to, the back half, sorry, I forgot that's what it was called, but I took it as they're fearing going to this place, and I'm just getting the feeling that it's not a good thing when they have to go to it. They're trying to make it.
Look at her face. She's
You're
so
just pausing it at bad.
Everybody, Nadia, you are so good at pausing just the right.
You are on point tonight. You're on fire.
That's how I go.
You have. This is why you got to 1,000. Okay,
that's why she's the goat. That's why she's the goat.
Yeah. For those in the chat and listening audience, if you haven't subscribed to her, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Do it.
Subscribe.
Do it now.
It's always a party here.
Do it now.
We want to see 1 point something.
It is actually.
All right. Awesome.
Side note: Dark Hour made 15K today, and was celebrating that. So it's like both of my friends that are doing really, really well on YouTube. I like it.
Is this a sign? I hope it is for this policy change on YouTube. That'd be great.
I think so. I think it's starting to notice certain creators and letting them, people who put out quality non-AI related content and are actually doing discussions and making legitimate attempts at stuff. I think so.
Which would change the algorithm and what's being pushed and what's being seen and not, etc. I might have rose tinted glasses about this, but that's the hope. I'm trying.
I think we've seen the end of. I think we've seen the end of like low effort, AI
videos,
AI stuff, and people who just sit there and go ooh and ah off TikTok videos that they've downloaded and uploaded and stuff like that. I think actual discussion and podcast oriented type content is I think it's doing good. I think we're good there.
Yeah, like this what we're doing tonight. Yeah,
I think I want to get back into live interviews of people in the horror industry, like directors, writers, and stuff. I interviewed the writer of Woman in the Yard too a couple months back, so I think I want to get back into that. But honestly, I think the biggest thing on my channel right now is Stranger Things because of season 5 coming out
pretty soon too.
Yeah,
a few months.
Yeah, I think Toxic told me we were at like 500 views after yesterday for that video, and it's just kept climbing today. So I think plus I'm willing to try anything for a price. No, I'm kidding.
Hell yeah.
You're on the wrong website.
Chat, we got to get her into another movie.
Oh, yeah. Toxic Avenger. That's probably going to be the next one. Okay. Let's meet our villains, shall we? Our villains. All right. First, we got whoever's on the screen right now. This is Dr. Daniels Hendricks.
Yep.
What do we feel about him? What do we think?
It's got a big
He's the guy
head.
that let me explain to the chat and anybody watching on the replay. He's the one that experiments on these kids to make them see dots. Once they see dots, depending on he's basically trying to enhance any kind of special ability they have, whether it be telekinesis or Shaw's ability to read minds. Every kid is different. They're a little bit more diverse in the book, but every kid is different. So he's the one that's trying to basically amplify it to the point where they see dots and then they're graduated to the back half. So I did like the scene where Luke was like, aren't you a doctor? Don't you have a code to live by? Don't you have like a moral code? And he's like, nah, fuck them.
Well, I liked how he kind of tried to explain it away though too. Because he said we can wait for that.
No, go for it, Corey. If it's on your mind, go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, because he was saying, okay, you think I'm doing you harm right now, but it's for the greater good. He goes, surgery is harm. We're harming your body for a greater good.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of his, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I cut you, if I slice into you, that's harming your body, but it's for a greater good. And he's in his mind trying to think him.
Yeah, almost, he's pulling a Dr. Fauci.
Yeah. Well, wait, did I just say that out loud? Moving on.
What do you think, Kai?
Don't you start. You know, it took me like 5 seconds to register who you were talking to.
You beat me to it, Nadia. I literally was going to use that later. I was like, what do you think, Kai?
Are we still in episode 1? Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, we are. We're going to finish up episode 1. We're going to talk about.
We're not even halfway through episode 1,
right? Well, we're going back and like we're going just sporadic. What do I think about the guy, or just like what
Dr.
general
Hendricks
thought?
On the screen. The villains in general, because this scene introduces all three of them. We have Dr. Hendricks, we have Mrs. Sigsbee, and then we have Stackhouse.
What a name!
Yeah.
Who,
if anybody picked up, Miss Sigsbee and Loverboy over here are having an affair together.
I've always liked Mary-Louise Parker ever since I saw her in The Client as the mom. She's kind of a deadbeat mom. At least she always, to me, getting that impression.
Wasn't she in Weeds? Wasn't she the mom in Weeds?
Probably, yeah, but I didn't see that. My first time I saw her was in The Client, and she just came across as this mom who was on drugs all the time. Just the way she portrayed the character, you know. And she doesn't really do it here, but I think naturally any neutral performance she does, she comes across that way. Yeah, here I think it's not a matter of her performance. I think it's a matter of some of the dialogue. When she's pitching, she's laying out the rules and the situation with Nick about how it's going to be when he's in here.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Nick, Luke. And the dialogue just seems too forced. It's too on the nose. Yeah, she's doing her best though with what she's got, I think. Yeah, and the rest of the guys, those two older guys, are just they blend together for me. When they're having a scene together, I'm like, why are you talking to your clone?
It took me a minute the first time too. I was like, whoa.
Stackhouse has been in a lot of things. Julian Richenling, I can't say his last name. He's been in X-Men: The Last Stand, Percy Jackson. I know I've seen him in quite a few stuff. He's like one of those actors that you're like, hey, I've seen him from something else. Not a standout, but
Hendricks.
He's been in Hendricks. No,
Hendricks,
Stackhouse. The other guy.
Oh, okay, because I didn't recognize Stackhouse. I recognized Hendricks, which was weird.
He's Death in Supernatural. That's where I recognize him most.
Okay, that's where. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was looking. Yeah, I think they're fine here. We're just establishing the villains, but they're a little bit more. How do I say this? Here you can kind of see some sympathy with like Hendricks, even with the first 2 episodes, but in the book, there's nothing. You think I say fuck them kids? These people are like fuck them kids. We don't care. Like half the time, you know. And in a sense, it's like what Luke calls this place, the Institute from Pinocchio. What's the island that all the
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. Very much Pleasure Island on this. They get whatever they want as long as they obey to taking these tests and experiments. They
Really?
don't care for these kids' well-beings. Yeah.
They get whatever they want, like
Yeah.
food wise, and I didn't get that sense.
Alcohol.
No.
Alcohol.
They were giving them alcohol and
cigarettes.
cigarettes.
Yeah.
Why would they have a
Whatever
vending
they
machine
want.
then? That's just strange.
Because
The
they had to
vending
work for the
machine-
tokens to buy
For the
Yeah.
stuff.
for like the treats, for like
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but
candy and stuff.
that's a mixed message there. So if they can get whatever they want, but then they also have a token system.
Well, they can get
and
whatever
it's
they
like-
want if they obey what
obey
they're
the,
being
with the token.
told to do. So
Yeah.
if you do what you want, you can have this token, and you can spend it on booze, you can spend it on cigarettes, you can spend it on candy, you could.
Wine coolers.
with,
Yeah.
with the vending machine.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you get it.
So
the
just think of like a
tokens, and
line
trade
of
it in.
vending machines. Well, that's
They-
how it
they
was
did?
like a little bit described in the book, but it was
They
like
don't
you
care.
just
They
I,
don't
go-
care
I
what
don't
these
think they
kids
really
do.
portrayed that very well. It just looked like a common vending machine with crap candy and chips in there.
But that's how they
Yeah.
got the. But then, like one of the times, the one kid got cigarettes out and from it, and another one he had a
They're
little.
just candy cigarettes.
One of them was candy, and
No,
one he
one was-
lit up.
He lit up
One
an
was
actual
Oh,
candy and
cigarette.
one
the
was
greaser
real
dude
ones.
got his cigarettes from there
Yeah.
too. Okay.
Yeah, he got
Yes,
it from
yeah.
there too. And then
Pay
one
attention,
time
Ty.
they had a little like airport, like an airplane bottle of like Jack Daniels or something that she was.
he had a
drinking.
little nip.
Yep, had a little nip.
Okay.
I will say
How old is he?
They're under 21.
Oh, probably 16.
they're all under
Yeah.
21. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
young kids. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Does this
And the
institute take
rules
place in
apply to
Europe?
everyone. Like
Yeah,
if you're
it's in
10, you
Europe.
can walk in there and take
No.
whatever you
Yeah.
want,
Hey.
like with the token.
Yeah, in a sense, it's real. It's real Pleasure Island for these kids. They really don't care what these kids do off the hours of, as long as they're not trying to escape or kill somebody, they really don't care. As long as they are going through their experiments, going through the testing and stuff, they could do whatever they want.
I don't think they portrayed that very well. They didn't convey it well enough.
No. Good point here. Wouldn't giving them drinks affect their powers?
Maybe it would
No, it's in the
enhance it.
book.
I mean, a little bit
Yeah.
somehow. It depends on the person.
But they're giving them wine coolers.
They did make a point about that. They were like, it was mostly wine coolers and stuff.
Mhm.
Go to island and get adult privileges too. They end up turning into donkeys.
Do you think they'll
Not that
do
these
some
kids-
kind of
They're not
quasi-animal thing that might
No, no,
happen
no,
to
no,
these
no, no.
kids?
No. I will say we still got episode 2 to go through. Episode 1, this is pretty much the pivotal the big moment, right? Luke gets kidnapped and we're introduced to the Institute, and then we're introduced to our 3 villains. I really don't care what's going on with Tim throughout this episode. He's just being established as the Night Knocker, except we're introduced to Annie, who has abilities. Remember, in Stephen King's books are all connected. And in his universe, people have what the Shining, in a sense, the Shine. It's a different version in some books. But like these kids would be considered that they have some version of the Shine, an ability to it. Like this was
It's
the
called
first
the Shinning. You want to get sued?
the Shinning, whatever. But I'm just saying this is the first multiverse before Marvel and the MCU did it. Like this has been going. All his books are connected. There's a big, great turtle that yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Speaking of Annie, there we go. Who is like a homeless lady in this town too? Who
Yeah.
who is actually right about everything? Who gets ignored?
Yeah.
But
Do
she
they
doesn't-
try to normalize being a homo? Sorry, a homo. Actually, both. Maybe both. Actually, no. There's a weird little. That's a subconscious thing, but me and Megan talked about that at the end of episode 2, I believe. We'll get to that. They try to normalize being a hobo on the street by, Prince Caspian. Just like nothing. No discussion about being like you're obstructing anything. Your encampment is in front of literally dumpsters that say waste only. So that's a little subtle commentary that they're trying to push right there to normalize someone being a hobo on the streets.
I guess I didn't look into it that far when I watched it.
Oh, they're doing it, man. They're doing it. He's like,
But you're kind of introduced
hi,
to.
I'm gonna take you back home.
I can't remember if it was this one or the second episode, but they introduced that she's maybe has an ability of herself where she's like she's able to give his grandma's
see
name
things.
to him, or mother's name or grandma, I can't remember. And
Right. Something
and
his mom
there's
used
some
to call
things,
him.
yeah, a nickname, yeah, that was what it was. But so then that's where we're kind of wondering, or at least I was like, okay, is she somebody that has some powers herself?
Did I miss something? Does she display any powers?
Yeah, because she was able to,
she can read mind.
she was able to call Tim his nickname that nobody, she wouldn't have had any reason to be able to know. And then there's a couple other things too where she's able to kind of, I don't, anyway, that was like the big one right off the bat was he was like, how do you know this, kind of a thing. But
that
By the way-
introduces and changes a lot of things from the book.
I just got
bring up
lost
your
in the
point of
nonsensical
hobo-
things she was saying about the town, I think.
About promoting being a hobo. My husband's favorite thing is when we see videos of people who live in like their vans or their cars and stuff. And my husband's so mad because he's like, stop promoting being professionally homeless. Like, stop promoting.
But even a van is a step up from her situation.
Yeah.
Or a tent or like, yeah.
No, she's just obstructing, you know, even if it's an alleyway, there's a business that she's encamped in front of. Why do they have all those dumpsters there? Because there's a business operating through the day that needs to use them.
But she's also like the town crazy. Like they all know her.
Yeah.
They all know who she is. I thought this was a weird scene. I don't know. It just kind of irked me. Like it's a scene that didn't need to be in here. Of the random family that came up and then the one guard holding the gun and just.
Yes. No, you're right. But I did notice the likeness between that guy, that man, and Luke's dad. They're both, you know, kind of, they're not intimidating men at all, and they're very submissive. And they look alike. That was... Like, why is Luke's dad there, and he doesn't have any balls? They just tell him to buzz off, and he just goes.
This, for me, the scene was introduced because it had to set up everything else for this, the girl, what's her name? Kate, the one that kidnapped Luke, because that's the car that's waiting to get out. So they had to figure out how to introduce how we're going to follow Kate. So they had to do this whole, here's what happens if anyone comes to the Institute. You better not think that these kids are going to try and get out. We'll shoot anyone on sight.
More importantly, it shows, you know, these aren't just regular rent-a-cops. These guys are serious operators that are ready to go rock and roll if somebody's trying to breach the place, if they're reporters, if they're someone who kind of knows what's going on with the Institute, yada, yada, yada. Like, you know, like this poor family and the little girl with the iPad, they were like one wrong comment away from getting like sprayed and, you know, buried in the river somewhere. So I like that. I thought the scene was pretty good for that. It gave you what you needed to know. And the whole upwards angle shot where it's one way in, one way out. I like that too. I thought that was pretty cool.
But the thing is, it doesn't fit. To me, it doesn't fit. The heaviness of this, the heaviness of this scene, the seriousness of it, like they're about to maybe take out this whole family, doesn't fit for how toned down everything else is throughout episode 1 and 2. Like there's no, I don't, even when Luke is slapped across the face by what's
Tony.
Our true evil dude, apparently for the show, you know, our big baddie. That fits in this in lieu of the story in the book, but everything else feels it's been lightened up a little bit, right? There's nothing super heavy like the book. And this is a heavy scene. These kids, the family could have been taken out, but yet we go back to, you know, let's share vending machine snacks and play chess and stuff. It just doesn't flow well. I don't know.
Visually speaking, the language and the layout of what they're telling us is that they just put all the intimidating, capable guards at the front of the gate, and then on the outside, where the basketball hoop is and the courtyard, there's nobody surrounding that area or standing around. There's no watchtower. I just kept thinking, hey guys, if you could find some wire cutters, you can get the fuck out of there right quick.
They did have guards touring around though.
I didn't see any in the
nighttime
significant scene. It might be in episode 2, but
when he was timing them, to see
Yeah.
how.
Yeah, it is in a future episode.
Okay,
It's also an important plot point in the book as well, is the degradation of their security.
So Nadia, when the seriousness of that, I almost kind of took it as that's how serious they are about keeping that place a secret. They're willing to just kill this random family that accidentally pulled up there. But then when it switches to the inside, I think they're still trying to disarm the kids a little bit, where maybe not expose how serious of a deal this is, and it's life or death for them, kind of a thing. But I don't know. That's kind of what.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe it throws me off because it's not written well enough to balance it like that to me.
Right, but if you think about like however young these kids are, if you have armed guards walking around like constantly in front of them, I think it would make you a lot more tense than it's like, hey, this is like you were saying, Pleasure Island. You can stay up as late as you want. You can go, I don't care, eat a candy bar for breakfast or whatever, kind of a thing. I don't know if that was the point of trying to disarm them a little bit or not heighten their fear.
Well,
that's a good point because the janitors and like people in there call them by their first names too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they're telling the kids to knock it off in certain points, and these kids listen to them because they're an adult figure, but they're not guards. They're dressed like janitors or like institutes, what they're called, guys like that help
orderlies,
like,
custodians,
orderlies. Thank you,
orderlies.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get to this when you still were introducing our big bads, but I had to walk out one of the staff members to their vehicle on my night knocker job. So Stephen King, as good as this book is, and it is good, he's really cannibalized a lot of the stuff that he utilized from Firestarter and The Shop. So this is basically The Shop under a different name. And all of these characters from Sigsbee to Stackhouse to the Doctor, it's basically just a retread for people who have read or even just watched the movie, the original, not that abomination of a remake that they did, but it's basically just Captain Hollister, Rainbird, and Dr. Wainless just completely just redone or repurposed. So he's sort of repeating himself with this. It's the first thing I thought of when I picked up the book and read the synopsis, and I was pretty much satisfied that that's exact. Now I get it. He wrote Firestarter during his binging cocaine days, so maybe he doesn't realize he's cannibalized himself.
Man, I miss Cocaine King. King could write, man.
Cocaine King wrote it, though. I would point that out. So
yeah,
good thing you finished
that
sentence.
He wrote a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's
too. He might not have so much TDS if he was on cocaine right now.
Right. But the main thing to understand is that they basically just repurposed the Department of Scientific Intelligence, and they have now kind of outsourced it, and it's become this. But all of these characters are just homogenized weak tea versions of the originals from Firestarter, who were much more frightening and much more intricate and stuff. Although I do like Tony. I think Tony's very interesting. I think he's I like the way he smiles and acts like, let's go along to get along. Aw, shucks kind of guy, but he can switch over to evil. I saw a lot of these guys as interrogators.
Can't is a beta word. Toxic. Right. All right.
Yeah. Facts.
Can't is
facts.
a beta word.
Yeah. The actor playing Tony, that's the character's name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he pulls off most of the performance with a good sociopathic leaning into that aspect. He does the grinning a little bit too much. Just that's one critique that I have about it. It's almost as if
the
he's
Joker grin.
Very good. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. As if he were auditioning to play Joker. It's like, hey, studios, hey, if you're looking for a new Joker, I can do it.
Oh,
you know, it's like that type. At the end of every line, he needs to throw that in there. No, but when he's not doing the wide smile, he's good, I think.
Yeah, no, he's great. I like him. He's one of my favorite characters so far.
Yeah,
this makes sense because he's emotionally detached. Don't apply that to Shaw.
Kai, you're gonna have an issue going forward because Shaw is a big player in this story.
Oh boy,
I think this dude,
especially with Avery when Avery comes in. Avery, by the way, is the little kid at the end of episode 2 that we get introduced to. That's who I'm mentioning. That has like strong telekinesis abilities and stuff. Like there is. So I just pulled this because bam.
Just
like,
hit him.
Slap that kid. She's
That was
like,
a good sound effect.
The
actually
hand
slapped him so
imprint
hard
that
it
was
moved
left.
him. Yeah.
Oh, the
That's
hand
actually-
imprint that was left. Oh, Nadia.
That was a little
so,
too quick that it showed up on his face, but yeah, I mean.
Okay, so what was that? Was that makeup? Was that an actual slap that it showed up, or was it like how did they do the red?
They
Okay,
actually
so
slapped the kid.
if the kid was open to it, he probably could actually have been slapped if the kid was open to it. But if not, it's probably just like a light powder of something to shape the hand, like a bruising effect.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, bam, just right across his face. I cheered. I went, good.
What was you and her?
Just so you know, kids, if you go to Comic-Con and you meet Nadia and you go to her table and you ask the wrong way for an autograph, this is what you're gonna get.
Stay out of arm's reach.
My
So here's
son
what we
watching
learned
this is
tonight,
just gonna be
okay?
like, do not.
Nadia wants Newt dead from Aliens.
No,
And
I didn't say dead.
she
I
wants
said,
to see
why
all
didn't
the
you
kids
say
in the
dead?
show slapped across the face.
You're telling me you don't want to see Shaw
Dead.
slapped across the face?
Well, I mean, that's a different story, Nadia. You know, we're you know, we gotta have to see that if that scene comes to pass. You know,
But,
then we'll see how I feel.
I'll say
I
think Tony enjoys his job too much in this, though.
Yes.
By the end of this, Kai and Shaw are going to be sitting in a tree. KISSING. She's going to be kissing you with chicken pox
I
all
would say
over.
that with his wife in the chat.
Well, I was about to ask, who are you referring to?
All right.
By the way,
last
that is a very underage situation. Jeez, that was.
before we get to episode 2,
go ahead.
the only big pinnacle thing left is we're introduced to the other kids. So we have Nick here, who is the oldest out of all of them. We have Iris, and then who's the George. All of them having some sort of ability where the next episode Iris has actually graduated to it, and they're kind of filling in Luke a little bit more about what's going on, and Nick here wants to escape because Nick has been through foster homes and he knows that there's something wrong here, that there's no way the back half is a good place. So he is trying to figure out how to escape out of this, and kind of loops Luke into it as well. Any final thoughts on the kids before we get into episode 2?
I like the kids as a
how old
collective.
is that?
I liked who played Nick. Yeah.
So Nick is the greaser, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I like them. I like all the kids. I think all the kids are pretty especially the little Indian girl that's shy and sad and stuff like that. It's like a
Or Iris.
they're exactly who you think they're gonna be. And they're in a really bad situation. And I think they all kind of know whatever is going to happen on the back half is not good. And they know that they're being watched and they're being used for nefarious purposes and things like that. So I think they all kind of come across that way. They know the tokens thing is a joke, and it's just little, but again, it's something, it's just another control measure that they utilize and stuff like that. So sometimes child actors will just annoy the shit out of me, and I kind of side with Nadia a little bit, but I thought these kids, I kind of felt for their plight, Yeah, I'm not completely hurt.
I would say so too. I'm with you on that one. Toxic, I would say.
I forgot that is it this episode that the girl gets killed into it? The orderly woman, the
Yes.
kidnapper?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
We kind of obviously not that important if we're just kind of pacing over it. But
I'm not gonna lie, that saved this show for me, because when that happened, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
But
All
see,
right,
they can
then.
go that dark, but they can't go dark with. I don't know if it's something that they just don't want, because we are dealing with the subject of children, so that you don't want to go that dark. Because obviously, in books and comics and stuff like that, when you're dealing with children as protagonists, you can spread out a little bit more. Where on TV, it's usually a taboo.
Yeah,
like,
well,
pull a
I mean,
kid off and stuff.
I'm of two minds with it. I mean, on the one hand, it's something that's sort of always been done. The Hunger Games altered some things. Game of Thrones altered a lot of things. I mean, and all the characters you see in Game of Thrones, all the main characters, they're like 12, 13, 14, 15. in that. So I mean, it's kind of gross as far as that goes. I mean, whatever justifications you want to put to it. So that's something that's always. Also, you have to realize the current zeitgeist. Stephen King is not getting any free rides anymore, no matter how liberal a person is. Anytime he pops off on X or some other place, someone brings up the kid orgy in It, or one of his other many faux pas with kid stuff. And on the one hand, you have to write good horror. I mean, the whole crux of Pet Sematary is a child's death, and it makes sense. But at the same time, people are savvy now, and they're not. We got political stuff that we're not going to bring up, but things that are going on with missing lists and flight logs and stuff like that. So people are not. So they're probably the showrunners are like, all right, we're gonna they these kids up so this isn't super duper creepy.
But you can age kids up. That's fine, even if they're all in the age of 17 and 18. They seemed. I don't want to say plot armor because we're only 2 episodes in, but it seems like we're not seeing the severity of what's going on in the Institute as the book would lead to. So such as an example, the middle clip on the ear. Actually, in the book, it's concealed under the skin. So Luke actually has to find a way to remove it from underneath the skin manually too. So there are like graphic scenes that these kids go through. And yes, they're younger in the books. If they're younger in the books and they're still going through these scenes, why can't you do it here too? If we're aging them up a little bit.
Some of the reason why the stuff is so graphic in the book is because it happens to younger children. Nobody wants, young kids put in harm's way. In fact, they used to have a thing on TV where they legally they could not show children in jeopardy. That's why the first Stephen King It adaptation from 1990 is so kind of watered down, as scary as it was to us Gen Xers back at the time. It was really hotly debated whether or not they would be able to do that, because they had a rule on the big 3, NBC, ABC, and CBS, that you just could not show children in any serious jeopardy. So they really kind of had to skirt that. So, again, that's what makes a lot of what the novel is, because you don't want to think of like a 12-year-old kid in this kind of jeopardy. And when they're teenagers, it's a little, the whole Friday the 13th thing is based on teenagers being dumb and getting killed off and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more palatable. People just usually don't like to read about that. I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's just like, that's why probably a good amount of the jeopardy is watered down in any way.
I grew up watching movies that really didn't have a problem putting kids in jeopardy. So everything that you're saying, I just feel the opposite about. I'm talking about Disney live action films,
Okay. Like the Goonies?
That wasn't Disney. I'm talking about Swiss Family Robinson, Old Yeller. A kid gets fucking bit by a rabid hog, and there's blood everywhere on his leg. It's brutal, and eventually he has to kill his dog and all that stuff. It's like, those kinds of movies were made by Disney when Disney used to be great,
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think is the hesitation here then?
With people talking about wanting to keep kids safe, I think it's a matter of just like overly protective coddling and of this generation, and they don't expose their kids to natural pushback and conflicts that are going to occur in life. I think a lot of us relate to this aspect of growing up where we didn't have cell phones in our pockets to get a hold of our parents. If we needed to get a hold of our parents while we were out riding our bikes and jumping into the creek getting dirty with our friends, we had to find either a payphone or get to one of our friends' houses to call our parents to pick us up.
Yeah. I didn't have a cell phone until I started driving. And the only reason I got a cell phone is because I was driving. My dad wanted to make sure I had something in case something were to happen, such as like crash the car or something like that. But prior to that, I was 16, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
same
kids
here.
as young
I
as
didn't
like
get a cell
or-
phone until I was in high school.
So what are we arguing here exactly? Are we arguing that they should not have aged the kids up, or that what exactly is the argument? I guess I'm not clear about that.
I think I don't mind them aging the kids up. It's the problem is that for me, it's not as heavy as they could go based off the book. And I get it. You can't adapt everything, but I understand your point of, well, maybe it's heavier because the kids are younger in the book, and younger kids tend to have a little bit more empathy for versus teenagers, right? Because I'm at the age where I'm like, fuck them teenagers, I'm done.
Clearly.
Now
Maternal.
my
I
opinion of
can
this
go
could,
with you on.
yeah, my opinion of this could change because we are about to get one of the youngest, and they are a young child with episode 3, so it could change to it. I don't know. I feel like I'm watching a CW show that just kind of got tossed to the side.
I hear you there. It definitely is giving CW vibes a lot of the time, and that's probably my chief complaint of it. I would put this towards you. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because if you have too young of a kid espousing way too heavy dialogue and just for instance, Dawson's Creek, when that came out and all those kids were supposed to be 14 and 15, and they're speaking in a manner in which people are like, kids don't talk like that. That's ridiculous. So
contrary to popular opinion, Dawson, but everyone thinks that, we're supposed to be together.
So a lot of that, I remember that being a big heavy bone of contention for that, and it's been done. I also can say, like, if I read The Talisman when I was younger, and I was probably 12 or 13, and the main character is supposed to be 10, and he's going on this cross country thing by himself, and I'm like, dude, and then shooting Uzis and stuff, and I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. And I can even remember reading Stephen King's It and going, these kids are supposed to be 11 and 12. Like, I don't know. I'm not buying it, So, I guess it could work either way. Definitely it does feel watered down. It does feel like, but I mean, I still think that with this show, and it's probably down to this performances more than anything else. But some of the times when Luke is speaking, I just don't believe a kid would talk like that. Even a super duper smart kid, I just don't believe it. None of the kids really speak how I think a kid would speak. None of them.
Who do you guys think the target audience that they're trying to get for this show? Is it millennials? Is it Gen X? Is it Gen Z? Like, I would assume it is probably millennials or older, people who have read the books.
Yeah, I think it's us.
I
think they're heavily banking on people who are fans of Lost and From, especially with From being from the same network. I think they're banking on this, and people who've read the novels. I definitely don't think they're trying to get like teenage audience with this or anything like
do you
that.
think
This
that's
thing
the
is
problem?
way too slow for that.
Do you think that's the problem, where they're trying to write teenagers, but whoever the writer is doesn't really understand what teenagers are nowadays?
I don't think Stephen King does.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's what I was about to say. I think King, even in the Institute, the book, I think he's still basing it off how he grew up, or his kids growing up, because they're all what Joe Hill's probably 40s now, late 40s or something.
Facts.
Like,
yeah,
right around there.
Totally. I don't think Stephen King ever really has written really believable kid dialogue. I read Stephen King's It, and I'm like, all of these kids are way too sophisticated. Like, I don't think he's ever done a good job. I think maybe the exception might be The Long Walk, and the only reason I even give it that is because Stephen King was 16 when he wrote it. So make of that what you will. But I think that also, as big of a defender of King as I am, I think that there's stuff that doesn't translate well to this medium. I don't think there's stuff that reads very well, and then you try to put that dialogue in here, even some of the adult dialogue and I can get a chance to bring it up because I had to jump away for a second. But when Ben or not Ben, Tim, Tim, his name is Ben, his real name is Ben. When Tim is speaking to the chief, that dialogue is almost word for word out of the book, and it reads good in the book, but people don't talk like that. Like, that's not a conversation. I didn't find it very believable. And it's not down to the actors. The actors did a great job. And it's not down to the dialogue, because I liked reading that dialogue. But when it gets put on the page, it just doesn't translate well. You have to have a showrunner that knows how to translate King stuff properly. And if you don't have that, it's like having a diamond and trying to sell it to a nickel and dime pawn shop. You're never going to get the good price and get the good value out of it. So,
well, we're almost at the 2-hour mark. I don't want to hold you guys. I know you guys have lives. Do we want to just kind of skim through episode? Because episode 2, I feel there's not much
Yeah, let's
to
do
it.
it.
We've got
I'm down.
Iris graduating. We've got the end of it. Avery's introduced. Tim's story maybe is the most important part of this whole episode, where the convenient clerk gets shot and he has to come to the rescue for it. And then we learn a little bit more about Miss whatever her name is.
Annie?
No, not Annie.
Sigsbee? Or
Sigsbee.
Sigsbee.
Yeah, likes to harm herself,
Yeah.
and she's no feelings or whatsoever. So I feel like that's about it. I don't feel like there's something hugely like if I wasn't covering this show on this channel, I probably would have called it a day and waited until the rest of the season was released and then maybe binged it for a day. Instead of, I have no desire to just like be sitting there Sunday.
It's funny you say that
for this episode.
On Reddit, to try to prepare for this on Reddit, that's what a lot of people are saying they're going to do. They've liked the book, but they're not willing to do MGM Plus, and they're not willing to do. They're waiting till the entire thing is
get an MGM free trial for 7 days and just like that's
Binge
how I
it.
did it with initially for the first season of From.
Me too.
Of it. Yeah.
We're terrible people. Sorry, MGM Plus.
But
I guess the second one, like we were talking about, or I brought up earlier, I couldn't remember which one it was in, but when they're starting to hatch the plan to figure out how they can escape, that's when you get Luke out in the playground area timing the night watch. The guards, I think he's, trying to figure out the timing between the intervals between them coming around, what kind of window do they have to, if they were going to try to do something.
My question for the panel is, did this show keep your attention? So I base it off, am I reaching for my phone to check messages while I'm watching something? There are certain shows that I don't reach for my phone and I am so immersed into it.
That's a good.
I felt it just, this was like, I felt like I could multitask while the show was going on.
See, whenever I watch a show or a movie, I leave my phone in another room. I just always do.
You're a better
I just
but then the
so I
question
couldn't reach for
is,
my
Corey, did you want to go and reach for your phone?
Yeah, did you want to
See,
go reach?
I don't think I'm as down. It's not perfect, but I don't think I'm as down on it as the general feeling. I'm ready to see what's going to happen in episodes.
No, same.
I'll say that.
Same.
Yeah.
Not about the phone part, you're a little too on your high horse from your ivory tower.
No. I like to focus.
I put my phone on the charger and
I don't mean it that way. I turn
up the fireplace. And
I just like getting the distractions out of the way.
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Star Wars. Keep the hard work going. Good to see growth. Congratulations on the 1K. Nice. Rachel, German or Spanish?
Spanish, español.
Okay.
¿Qué hables, maldito? De lo contrario te arrojaré al fuego.
A la verga me vale verga, perro. Y cállate a la verga, hija de su puta.
Dude, he said nothing in Spanish. That is a terrible. He basically just said, "You dirty dog." What is that? And then he just mumbled.
Yeah, the original actor who voices Chucky is very clear and he enunciates the words that he's saying.
Yeah, the German ones.
I apologize. Maybe German was better. Give me a second.
Schmeiß ich dich ins Feuer!
Du dämliches Schweinstück! Du willst mir tun? Ich werd's dir zeigen!
Nein!
That's right.
German is a scary language. It's just a
German is this. Yep.
When I used to work in haunted houses as a kid, one of the directors for it would say, just scream out something in German as people walk by. They don't know what it means. Well, if they're German, they probably would know what it means, but they're not gonna. If they don't speak German, they're not gonna know what it is, and it just sounds terrifying. Yeah. So just like scream out stuff at it. I was like, okay. All right, let's get through this episode as fast as we can. I know I apologize too, because originally I thought we were just going to be talking about one, but I didn't realize they were going to release two into the same thing. So there was the Irish graduation. Luke's initial testing begins too this episode. The escape plan with Nikki and Shaw, and then we have staff power plays. So there's another story. So we've got Tim's story, we've got the kids trying to escape, but we also have the storyline of Mrs. Sigsbee's and Stackhouse's confrontation of Stackhouse, in a sense, kind of wants her out, right? Doesn't trust her, wants her out of it. Go, Corey. I saw your point. Go.
Sorry, it just made me think too that there was some tension there too about this possible other program that was possibly shut down, that the doctor was throwing out, that Luke might be more. Ooh,
what is that?
Somebody's got feedback. Real bad.
Who is that?
Rachel, you might have to put on the.
There you go.
Yeah, muting the background noise.
But what was that? Did they call it PC, or I don't even know what they? It was another initial, but
yeah, PC. Yes,
PC.
Develop Luke for PC.
Yeah, and there was like tension there, and it's like, no, that was shut down, but he was like, well, there was some tension there, but with his intelligence and some of his power, so that was kind of a question in my head of like what this other program was that was being brought up, but maybe we'll find out later. But you know what I'm talking about? There was that tension there, and they were like, no, that was kind of shut down or something along that. But then they were saying there was this whole like, well, there's other parties involved kind of a thing.
PC stood for precognitive. I can't speak English today. Precognitive or something. That's okay. It's been a while since.
But they really didn't go into
precognitive. Precognitive.
Thank you. But there's that now. Now we have a third storyline going on. And actually, we have a fourth storyline because we have Annie and Miss Sloane's, I think it's the last name of her daughter being killed or found.
Well, there was
dead
questions on whether it was an accident or not. Kind of a thing.
So there's that now too. There's too much going on here.
A lot going on.
But the thing is, there's a lot going on.
There's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of consequence to it.
Yeah, there's not yet. And granted, again, this is going to be 8 episodes to fit this book into. I cannot see them wanting to maybe do a season 2. I don't know where they could probably stop in the book and continue, but they're probably trying. You still got feedback, Rachel.
Okay.
Sorry. I wonder what it is, because you were fine earlier.
Yeah, did the settings change for your mic where you put the background noise?
When you go to the StreamYard settings and you go to audio,
right? And there's a check mark. If you go to audio tab and there's a check mark, reduce background noise, mic background noise.
Background noise. We're all in. This is more entertaining.
It says browser not supported.
Can you change browsers?
What's your browser?
I would jump in and jump out.
Yeah, if you jump in and jump, maybe if you have a different browser.
We'll wait for you. Jump in, jump out.
Jump in and jump out. Yeah. No, I will tell you that I was looking at my phone. I'm glad you sit now. I don't feel so bad because I really get on people about being on their phone when they say they don't understand a show or a movie or something. Like, you got to get off your fucking phone. But I was on my phone, and when the pillow as a makeshift silencer was used on the lesbian assassin or kidnapper in the first, then I was like, okay, now we got a show. Okay, now I'm watching. I'm paying attention. I'm invested now. And episode 2 really picked it up for me. So I found it to be a lot more enjoyable, I guess. A lot more. It took a lot more of my attention. Episode 2 did. So I was like, okay, I see what they're kind of trying to do here a little bit. And I like Tim's exploration of what he's doing. And I saw how they've condensed, and I'll get to it when you ask us at the end the major differences between the book and the show. I'll bring it up, but I saw the reason why they've made that major location change. I was like, okay, that makes more sense now. Because at first it was really disorienting. I was like, why did they do this? So,
do any of you feel there's chemistry amongst these kids as a cast?
No, I guess not. Not really.
Maybe the closest is the greaser. I keep forgetting his name.
Nick.
Nick. Yeah. Maybe. But I suspect, spoilers. Well, you read the book, so maybe you can confirm this. I think he's a mole. I think he's an inside man for the Institute.
No. Do you want an answer? Or we can answer him or no?
Go ahead, Toxic. You can answer.
He's not a mole.
No.
Would have made the show better, more interesting if he was.
Okay.
It would have made it interesting if they had a kid, right? That is spying on them for maybe extra tokens.
Yeah, we could do that too. Well, it makes sense because he's an older age. So it would make sense for the Institute to get somebody to do that for them.
Say something, Rachel.
Hello.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a little
Yeah,
booming, but no biggie. Not too bad.
Your volume probably just needs to be just adjusted a little bit.
Down.
Down, down.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of echoing on your part. Like but you're fine. Other than that, you're fine. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through this episode pretty fast. Actually, to be honest, I don't even think I need to bring the episode up on the screen because it's a nothing burger. Because there's only 6 important moments. Okay, first of all is Iris's graduation.
Yep.
Iris doesn't want to graduate,
Sad.
and this is the first indication that something's wrong with the back half of this.
Yeah.
Also, it's not very climate change friendly when you see the smoke coming out of the other building.
Yep.
Not good, MGM. Not good. Any thoughts on that before we move on to the next important scene?
Has anyone noticed that a lot of female characters in media are being called Iris?
Are you basing this off Iris West?
Are you basing this off The Companion?
What would you say, Toxic?
Companion?
There you go. So you got a main character, the female protagonist in Companion is Iris. You just had a movie, well, actually it's coming out in a week, a movie called Oh Hi, and the main character, his name is Iris.
Well, see, the Companion, it makes
What is
sense
going
that
on
Iris
with
would be-
screenwriting and writing today where they just want to name characters Iris? It's like the new Kate or
Because-
something.
Yeah.
They're the characters you're supposed to see yourself through.
Toxic making notes. Get rid of Iris as a name for character in next book. Do not
Correct.
put Iris in there.
That's a good note.
Thank you.
The next important scene in throughout this is Luke's initial testing begins. So Luke undergoes his formal test with Dr. Hendricks and Tony. After an injection, he struggles, then briefly demonstrates telekinetic power, where he raises a bin of stuff up and then throws a chair at Dr. Hendricks too as well.
Yep.
And this is where we get the discussion of the back and forth between him and Hendricks, where he's like, surgery's doing harm, but it's for a good cause. Trying to justify what he's doing to these children.
Yeah, his Fauci logic.
Mm-hmm. The third one is the escape plan with Nikki and Shaw. So the trio conveys Luke suggests enlisting a powerful telepath to disable guards mentally, which, spoiler, we get Avery towards the end, who is a very strong telepath.
Oh, that's the name of the one? The whining one?
Mm-hmm. The kid. Look, I'm saying fuck these kids. Kyle is like the whining kid. You mean the baby, the pretty much toddler that gets introduced?
Look like a toddler.
In the book, he's pretty close to that age. He's
but we're assessing the episode of the.
That's
show.
true. Rachel, you got feedback again.
Sounds like a drum, like do, 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 do. Tribal drums. So the thing about that child is, so we see it's whimpering and whining in the hallway in the middle of the night, and then I ask myself, is this the right way to portray the individual who needs to mentally be fortified to help break them out of the facility?
Well, that's the struggle, is this kid is too young to understand certain concepts, so he's going to have to, in a sense, grow up pretty fast to help them.
It's a good answer. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. And then we get the power play between the staffs that Corey was bringing up. The PC thing. We also get revealed. It's a shadowy figure of like who's funding everything, who's kind of who is making sure everything. The big boss.
Mm-hmm.
Who I don't know I couldn't tell who's playing him. If it's a well-known actor or not. Man on the phone. Jeff Fahey.
I know
Jeff Fahey.
Name.
Yeah. The Lawnmower Man.
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't realize that was him. Okay. Yep. Wow. Okay. Got the long hair and the beard now.
Wow. Okay.
Also, a story that has to do with the shop defense or Department of Scientific Intelligence. So,
did he wrote this in 2019? When did Stranger Things get released? 2016, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I think the first season.
Yep.
I feel like this is very Stranger Things with kids with abilities and MK Ultra kind of testing.
Yeah.
Just adding King's creepiness to it.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, I think the first big one that he did was his early works was Firestarter 83, 82 or 83 was Firestarter. Yeah, that's when we get introduced to the shop. So
I was a bit creeped out when they said, "Ask and you shall receive," in reference to the new kid telepath. Okay.
How do I sound?
That's better.
Muffled.
There's no echo.
Muffled, no
There's a little
feedback,
muffled, but
yeah,
no feedback.
Oh, I'm not really talking like loudly. Is this better? If I just
Yeah,
talk
that's better.
loudly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Okay, yeah,
Great.
I was muffled. I was afraid to speak. I just moved everything to the headphones, I guess.
You're good.
And Rick, I want to go on Rick's comment. I cracked up with that woman. He tried to give that kid a vomit bag. I was like, how long have you been working here? Why didn't you give that kid like a pail? Like, you know, these kids vomit. You should have been prepared. So
Yeah,
thank
that's
you,
funny.
Rick.
I almost took that as he kind of purposely gave him a fuck you by missing the bag and puking on the floor, like, clean up my mess, bitches, if you're gonna do this to me. I almost took it as that, but maybe that's my writer's brain doing that or whatever. So, but yeah,
Rachel, since you're back, do you have anything additional to add about Iris's graduation, Luke's testing, or the escape plan and the staff power plays yet?
It didn't have a party in the book. It did not have a party in the book. I wrote that was my first line. What else? Nikki did not come up with the plan to get out. Let's see here. If seeing the big phone and the man wait, like, that was just too early for me. And the big thing for me, the dream box, they renamed it from the book. It's called the tank. It's like a water immersion tank, but here they call it the dream box, which I thought was quite interesting and a change. I wrote this down. I wrote, was that just sex? Ew.
The two of them in the did you pick up the one line he said I need the jump rope. Where is it?
Well, even before that, he goes, here's my belt, to give the belt to her. Yeah. And then he's like, where's the jump rope?
Oh, I didn't get that part.
There's some,
or at least, so I'm like,
asphyxiation going on.
I was figuring to him, and she's using the belt on him too, or something.
Okay.
But he does he takes his belt off and sets it up and goes, "Here's my belt," kind of a thing.
And I caught the pill. The pill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take the pill.
Adult themes. Why can't we have a little bit throughout the whole thing? We can't talk about how bad this stuff is for these kids, but it's okay. We can talk about, like, or being asphyxiated and whipped while you're having sex with somebody in a closet.
Yeah.
And she's just like, will you please stop talking? Like, through that whole thing. I was like, wow, that's a great relationship.
Yeah.
My girlfriend says that to me all the time.
Just to finish it off, I wrote keyholes ? And at this point of watching the TV show, I had written, I didn't finish the book, so I didn't know what PCs were just yet. So I had wrote PCs ? But now I know what they are. And I'm questioning why they even have a backstory. Like, what's this backstory for Mrs. Sigsbee? Wasn't in the book. It's almost like they're trying to expand on the TV show, give it a second season, like you said. I don't know. I'm watching this book because I'm watching this because I want to see what changes they do from the book. Otherwise, I would have shut this off.
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to be ending right before Luke kind of goes to the back half, like before he graduates. And then that's your season 2.
Ooh, no. No, God, no. Please no. Please no. Oh God.
Well, have you seen the trailer for the show?
For the yeah.
Okay, well, for this show, you've seen the full trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. There's for me, there was some stuff in the trailer that seemed that they completed the book. So
that's what I thought
hope so.
Too. That's what I
hope so. Because this would be great, just limited series and stuff. So all right. And then besides the kids, we get the Tim's quiet heroism. So in the town, Tim foils a gas station robbery, and he finally gains the trust of his coworkers, and he has a stirring suspicion about a nearby secretive lab. And Annie's involved with this with the other kid's death that is in the town and such too. Again, weirdly, like I get what they're trying to do because in the book it's the same way. We get chapter with Tim, then we get a chapter with Luke, and then we get a chapter with Tim, and we get a chapter with Luke. That works in a book setting. I don't feel it's crossing over very well.
Agreed. Yeah, like I said earlier, some of the stuff, the way that Stephen King writes, you can't translate it literally. Like it's not gonna work. Like the guy that did Midnight Mass and the one that adapted Dr. Sleep, he did such a good job, like almost a Herculean
Mike
task.
Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan, thank you. He did that in such a way, and I did a video on it about how he seamlessly took Dr. Sleep, which follows very carefully The Shining, but we know in our world, we know that Stanley Kubrick's Shining, and Flanagan was able to merge Dr. Sleep, the book, with The Shining, the book, and The Shining, the movie.
What, you didn't like Stephen King's adaptation of The Shining that he did, that miniseries that was god awful?
Oh, dude.
Not a lot of people
prima donna.
know this. He did his own miniseries of his own book.
Yeah, 96.
So bad.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Horrible CGI.
Yeah, he's such a baby about that. But Flanagan did such a good job of translating that, and then so did Darabont with Shawshank. So it's not an easy task because you have good quality stuff there, but you can't just copy paste and put it onto the new media. It doesn't work. It's not meant to. It's meant to be read. So you sort of have to transform it enough to where it can be palatable in a limited series, a TV show, or a movie. But you can't transform it so much that it loses its original thing, like what they did with the TV version of the Tommyknockers, for instance. Pretty decent book, horrible TV miniseries. So you have to be careful.
Decent book, but yeah. So the episode closes with Avery's tearful entry. We'll get to know Avery a little bit more as the season goes, but Avery is a powerful telepathic ability. He's very powerful, but again, they put it in a very young child, very young to it. So that brings us to I would say we've covered a lot of the differences between the book and the show. One of the things is there's no graduation, there's no party like Rachel is saying. Pretty much these kids disappear, silent disappearance on it. Shots for dot serum that's administered in the novel. The drugs are used more as subtly to enhance emerging TP power abilities. Stackhouse mentioned of PC roles as elite, and Luke is a candidate in the show. In the novel, PC roles are established later when Luke learns children predict threats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the episode adds behind the scenes rivalry between Sigsbee, Stackhouse, and Hendricks. In the book, it stays close to Luke's point of view. Staff's motivations are more mysterious in the book. And then lastly, the show, Tim actively is involved in the town's life with the robbery and such. In the book, Tim's arc is more gradual. He drifts into town fatefully with a less heroic backstory as opposed to this. So a lot of differences between it. We're going to be covering episode 3. Apologize, guys, for running over a little bit because I know we were trying to fit in the 2 episodes. With that, I'm going to let everybody kind of go around with their final thoughts on these 2 episodes. Corey, you're first. You're up.
I was going to say, I think I'm not saying they're perfect. There's a lot of things that I agree with. How fast they move through the beginning to get to the Institute, but I don't think I'm as down on it as a lot of other people are talking right now. I am glad that they had the first 2 episodes released at the same time and I watched them back to back. I'm glad for that because I think Toxic was kind of hitting on that a little bit too, where I think things picked up a bit in the second episode. But I'm looking forward to I want to see what's going to happen. So I'm actually looking forward to the 3rd episode to see where things are going to keep going. So
it is downpouring right now, like a tsunami outside right now.
Wow.
I feel like I'm back in Chicago. I love your positivity, Corey. Toxic will tell you, I have Blue Collar Loser on all the time, and Blue will find anything positive about anything.
Well,
and
then
it's
just a
great to have
reminder
that point
too.
of view, though.
Yeah, but a reminder too. I haven't read the book, so
That's fine.
I can completely understand though if there's things you really like about the book and they deviate from that or just completely cut it out. I can completely understand where that would sour you on it though too. So
yeah, I could, and I haven't read the book in a long time. So Rachel and Toxic are the current ones. I think Sin reread it too. She'll be back. She'll be with us. I think episode 4 is when she'll be back.
She
with
brought
us.
up a couple things in the group chat. I'll let her do that when she comes back.
Yeah, I'm gonna give her some time to kind of recap up to it. But I like also point of views from people who haven't read the book. So similar to like The Last of Us. When I was doing coverage for The Last of Us, I've never played any of the games. So I'm looking at it from just a TV point of view, like storytelling, acting, how is this playing out? I could care less of like if it's going to match up to the game. I need to make sure this is a compelling story. So I can understand. I like to have people on that have those kind of views. Kai, what about you? Final thoughts on
I'm going to get a new light because this one decided to become like a strobe light and thought it was into club or it was having a seizure. So I'm going to need to get a new one. And it just happened to do it during a live stream. So thanks, you bastard. So the end of the week of the end of the month, I'm going to do a few live streams and going to have a new video out. I won't spoil what it is yet. I'll keep it a mystery, but it is going to coincide with a live stream that I'll be on. So I'll be
final thoughts on the episodes, Kyle, not outro.
Oh, well, that takes away the whole moment where I have to do that.
It's okay, we'll come back to that. But final thoughts on the episode, though.
I'm not looking forward to episode 3. And
you don't say.
I'm gonna be honest about the show. It hasn't hooked me. Like the official moments in which we'll know on episode 3 is like once it gets past 4, it's like okay now, no. Now it's either like I'm gonna come back because I like being on your streams and talking with y'all, but I wouldn't watch this aside from doing the reviews. I'd be out.
Fair enough. I get it. I've seen some movies, Jurassic Park, Afterbirth, and stuff like that I was forced to for panels. Not forced to, but I get you. I appreciate you being here, though. Toxic, final thoughts?
After the scene that I mentioned in episode 1, I was, I think it improved. I'm not as down on it as I may seem like I am. But I will point out the flaws. A couple other things that you missed, or maybe you mentioned them when I stepped away. Stackhouse is supposed to be like Alan Richardson Reacher size in the book, and he's instead of this small, thin, menacing character.
He's Death from Supernatural.
Yeah. And then the setting issue is only an issue if you want it to stay 100% loyal to the book. I myself think. And I can't speak on this issue. I can't really speak on this too much because it's a major plot point that happens later on that we've not covered yet. So I don't want to spoil, I don't think. So, but I mean, it's supposed to be that he's in Tim is supposed to be in South Carolina. And then the Institute is up in the Nigh East. And then there's a reason why. I don't want to speak to that too much. I think it was probably smart to just have Tim just go straight to Maine and have his Night Knocker job in Maine. So I'm okay with that. I don't have an issue with it. It definitely picked up for me in season 2 with the narrative and Tim's stuff. I loved all the scenes with Tim. I find him to be very enjoyable character. I'm actually a little more interested in his stuff. I think he's a cool character juxtaposed against like Tony, like where Tony is like on the outward, he's like super nice and affable, but he has that sinister side. It's the opposite with Tim. Tim is a little bit aloof and looks a little dangerous, but he's actually like a huge sweetheart in the things that he does and the way that he interacts with people, up to and including giving all the credit for the stopping of the robbery to the incompetent deputy. So things like that. I'm interested. I'm looking at IMDb and it says 4 episodes. So is this only a 4-episode?
No,
thing,
it's
or-
8 episodes.
No, it's 8.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
IMDb hasn't updated yet. But yeah, no, I'm digging it. I mean, maybe just for a personal thing, because I pretty much like all things Stephen King, and also the fact that one of the main characters is a night knocker security guy. So I kind of dig that. I think that's kind of cool. So yeah.
Hey
by
Tim,
the way,
did you notice in the convenience store during the robbery when Tim calls on the walkie and he says plainclothes police officer going into that literally made no sense because he's not in plainclothes.
He's not plainclothes. No. Yeah. That was probably, you could chalk that up to him just flustering in the moment and saying something like that during the heat of the robbery, or bad writing. I mean, either one is fine. I could see that. I also took a little bit of an issue with, why wouldn't you get on your walkie and call it in first before you go jump into the fray? But I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm a little more forgiving of it as the scene in total. I'm fine with it, especially he did that almost perfect, leaking lung wet wrap that he did on the guy on the fly with, MacGyver almost skills. That was pretty cool. That's something that he, and they kind of allude to his time in the military and including his time as a cop. And that's something he would know how to do. So I thought that was cool. So I forgave some of the other stuff. I think it was Sin that brought it up and said, and since she's not here to bring it, I think he left his device and then he had it again in the next scene. So I don't know if that was I didn't catch that actually. But I mean, if that's a thing, I'll have to go look at that again because I did not catch it. But that's something that could happen. I could see that. So.
I didn't catch him leaving it behind, but I do remember. I was like, why did he take that off to get his coffee? I do remember that, but I didn't realize. I didn't realize he then left it. But she had a good.
I mean, that device is very archaic. I could see wanting to take that thing off if you get a chance and you're taking a break for a second.
Yeah.
That old, this is what we use now, and it goes to a key pro on like the same thing you have for like a and that's basically what night knockers do now. And that chalk on the right in the chalk to keep pace of what you're doing, that's an old school type tactic. I mean, it's interesting in that it's more for tradition than anything else. It does help you remember all the sorry, my light just went out.
You're fine.
What the fuck is going on tonight?
What's up, Jamalama Ding Dong?
For people don't know, like my light just went out, his light just went out. I just
to be fair,
Rachel had sound issues. I started the thing with having to switch a browser.
They don't want us talking about this. No, mine are motion control to save money and energy in the hotel. If there's no movement after a while, the lights will go out. That's why I have the little headlamp right here. But yeah, when you do a night knocker job, you get one of those key pros, and then you just keep your log and write down your times and stuff like that and bring that with you, or you leave it at your station and you just write it down after you get done with your watch tour. So I liked all that stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's a interesting thing that he's brought up and stuff. So I'm digging it. I'm excited for the next episode.
I am
Who has
too.
telekinesis on the panel? Who has it? Who's messing with lights and sound? Who's got
Apparently I have
blue collar's
telekinesis.
Blue collar's back, like he's on the bus right now, and he's like, and he's like, let me shut Toxic up. Let me mute him really quick.
He's gonna be on with me on Tuesday. Rachel.
Nice. Yes.
Final thoughts.
Honestly, everyone has said everything to a T. I know I was down on it earlier, but I think I just came fresh off of reading the book. So I'm actually, I know I just said I poo-pooed on it and I probably wouldn't come back, but I probably would, because I said the same thing about From. I said the same thing about From, and then I ended up continuing watching the show because honestly, I don't think, anyway, that's a different story. But yes, my final thoughts, the storyline changes for me are what are going to bring me back. I'm excited to see, all the different changes that they've taken out of the book, all the different changes that they've introduced, these new storylines, why they're doing it. So yes, I would come back to the show, and I think I'm really interested to see where they go. I did write down that I really did like the kid who played Nick. I don't know why. I wrote down that I liked
the greaser.
Him and that I didn't. Yeah. And I made that point. I was like, I wrote down that I liked the kid who played Nick and not the kid who played Luke. So
yeah, those names are a little bit too similar.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see where they're going with this Annie storyline that also wasn't in the book. So, yeah, overall, I'm coming back.
I'm gonna poo-poo on this. This show sucks. All right, I'm sorry. I'm making you guys watch this. Okay, maybe it doesn't suck. I don't want to discourage anyone from checking this out, and I've seen some comments that some people do like the show so far of it. I am basing it off the fact that I am biased. I have read the book. I like the dark tones of the book because I do like King for those reasons, and I would have loved to see those more so in the show. Granted, I've seen the trailer. There are some things in the trailer. Maybe this is just a rough start for them. They just didn't know how to establish these characters because it does take time in the book. It does build up. It's a slow burn to a point, especially when you get to know Tim a little bit more. So I will give it grace. Check, and we're going to be covering it weekly. But I have told my panelists, if it comes to like episode 3 and 4, and you're like, nope, I can't do this anymore, you are welcome to bow out. We will just make fun of you just for a little bit. That's all.
Yeah, so you're giving them an out of if it makes you want to unalive yourself as the YouTube censors, passing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just, save yourself. Right?
No,
yeah. I never would want anybody to watch anything that they're not at least enjoying some aspect of it. So I am enjoying the conversation I'm having with you guys more so than the episode. So I'm willing to, I've committed the channel to watching this, but there are sometimes there's movies and stuff I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch this. I am a do not finisher. If I'm not entertained halfway through, I'm out. So go ahead, Corey.
If you said after this you were like, nope, I'm not doing it, and you're like, the streams, I'm not going to do future streams on this, I'm not going to follow it, I'm to the point right now I'd watch the rest of it. I want to see where it's going to go. So see? I would just say that.
Yeah,
I would continue to watch it even if you said we're not going to do future streams on it. I want to finish and see where it goes.
I would.
And maybe it's a rough start. Maybe it's just, again, they just don't know how to establish these characters. They don't know how to establish the tone of this, and it's just a rough start. But once we kind of get into really how the kids are trying to escape and the power plays, maybe it'll deepen. It'll blossom out. But so far, if somebody was to say, should I check this out? My recommendation would be wait till all episodes are out and do your free trial and binge it. That would be my recommendation at this point.
My recommendation, regardless. I mean, I mean, listen, don't pay for. I mean, I'm spoiled because I have a Plex Pass that pretty much has everything downloaded into it, no matter what I ask for. So, but I mean, if you don't have a situation like that, like you don't have a friend in Japan that lets you on the Plex Pass and downloads whatever you ask for, then I would definitely say do like me and Nadia did from season 1. Just wait till everything's out and then get a week-long thing under some email, and then GTFO, man, get out of there. There's too much streaming to have to, you'd have to have an Apple account, a Netflix account, a Disney account, for fuck's sakes, cancel Disney Plus. So, all that stuff, like, yeah, just do that anyway. I mean, I hope that doesn't mean we'd have less people to watch. Maybe you'd still find us entertaining, I mean, as a water cooler week-to-week show. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's part of my rating system. When I tell people, I give a rating system of like, yes, go see this opening weekend. You can wait till about $5 Tuesday or Wednesday to see it. Or, maybe stream it, but a streaming service you're already subscribed to. Don't pay for this. And I'm brutally honest with, and I base it off my opinions of stuff. And again, opinions are like assholes. Sometimes they stink. That being said, Corey, what do you got going on next?
I'm usually going to be, you can find me Fridays when I'm around. I'll be doing I do my lunch break cinema. It's really kind of to hang out and connect with friends that I've met through all of this. A lot of times I'll talk about things I'm watching currently, what I'm looking forward to watching, any new physical media that I've brought in, or kind of wherever the chat goes. So usually doing those on Fridays. I have a few other episodes that pop up here and there, but this Sunday I'm going to be on my friend's Movies with Ryan, and we got a panel going on where we're leaning into the music things, and we're going to be talking about some of our favorite albums from the years 2000 to 2009. So those are the things we got going on right now.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you have going on next?
I don't think I need to say again.
You can go ahead because they will be time stamped. What do you have going on next?
Well, if the audience skip to this, you have to go a little further back to see that I was already wrapping up earlier. Thank you, Rick Costa, for putting a bunch of our links in the chat. So
yeah,
I want to say that. Yeah, so I'll say again real quick that the end of the month is going to have a busy week for me. I'm going to have a new video out in and amongst a bunch of live streams, and that video is going to intersect directly with the topic of a certain live stream. So I'll keep that a mystery. Just keep your eyes on the community posts on my channel.
Toxic?
So I will be doing Stranger Things with you tomorrow night. Always fun. I think we're closing out season 3, and then on Sunday morning, it'll be released in the afternoon. I'll be continuing. We're starting season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, episodes 1 and 2 of season 3, with Toonie Boy and my usual crew, Northern English Bastard. I think this weekend I'm getting with Critical Al to talk about the difference between the TV show The Walking Dead and the graphic novels, where he is defending the graphic novels against the TV show in which I am defending. So,
oof. Gotta tell well, they both suck at a certain point. Rachel, what do you got going on next?
Not much. I am watching a TV show called Revival on Sci-Fi, and I plan to get some videos out as soon as I can learn how to do more videos. I have a full-time job. You gotta love it. Otherwise, I won't be on next week because I'll be traveling, but then I'll be back. So that'll be me.
Rachel, I have a question. Is this your first live stream?
This is my absolute first live stream.
We got to be a part of it. I love that. That's awesome.
So excited. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wish we had a celebration clip we could use in order to celebrate that.
Oh, thank you guys.
Good job, Nadia.
That's so awesome, Rachel. Yeah, I'm glad we got to hang out with you on your first one.
Yeah, I'm so glad you were trusting in me to come on and this be your first time. I really am. I'm excited. I'm excited to continue. And future projects, you're always welcome. If you feel like you want to jump in, because I'm going to be talking about Books of Blood. We're going to be talking about Welcome to Derry. There's a ton of stuff, so you're more than welcome.
Whatever happened to X-Files? Are you bringing that back?
I'm going to try to. I think I might make it a segment. There's a lot of reworking that's going to be coming down the pipeline. For my channel, I always do these. I do a little calendar kind of deal. Stranger Things tomorrow. We're going to finish up season 3 finale. Next week, Normal Horror Tuesday. I'm going to be talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer, because Blue will be joining me on that because I'll be seeing it Saturday. We're back with the Institute on the 24th for episode 3. Please ignore it too, because I thought it was going to be that way. Stranger Things season 4 starts on the 25th, and then we got our members watch party of Barbarian to prepare for weapons, and then Final Girls will be on the 29th, where I have other women in the horror content creator community joining me to do a roundtable. And then we've got our tier stream this month, which will be Millennial Horror, which is going to be Scream, Idle Hands, all that kind of stuff, which I've always said I'm very excited for, because Box Office Brawler is going to be joining, and he's the Gen Z on everybody else is like millennial or older. So it's going to be first time watch for a lot of those things.
Nadia, I think you missed a couple days on the calendar. You're not streaming every single day? Come on. I'm making a joke. You got a lot of streams going on. I'm just saying you didn't fill up all the days. So
the only things not on there are my Alien Isolation, because those tend to be just sporadic. And
you're a streaming monster, man.
I've got some things.
You don't get to 1K by resting on your laurels.
That's right. You got to work at it. You've definitely done that. So you earned it.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. If I could stream every day, I would, but just like Rachel, I got a 9 to 5 that eats my soul. It probably eats her soul too.
So, I'll join that group as well.
Yeah.
Nadia, you need to get yourself a night knocker job. Go around as a night knocker, and you got all this time to do live streams and videos and such.
Again, thank you everybody for helping me get to 1K. Really, honestly, this community is fantastic. And again, I want to pay back. So be on the lookout. I'm going to start asking for smaller channels that either haven't hit 500, 1K, or their watch hours in helping them. If you have a recommendation for a channel, please leave it in the comments below and such. And then I'm going to work out when I can. I think I might do like a fun celebration thing, but we're going to highlight everybody's channels and stuff to pay it back. So on that note, Rachel's frozen. So I'm going to say on that note,
I'm telling you, there's something about tonight. Technical difficulties unlike I've ever seen before.
I'm going to say to everybody, have a good night. And as always, stay spooky. Bye.